Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally arrived, I might say. League Championship Denmark has reached its final stage. We're at the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, and it's gonna be a hot one. We've got Good Game eSports in our first best of 5 versus Supernova, and later in the day we have Singularity versus Roll Again. So I suggest we just jump right into it in the Good Game eSports versus Supernova match. And I would like to hear what you guys think. By the way, Daniel Justy here and Stefan Storm. I myself am Mildoran, and I believe the introductions are underway.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad to be underway. And no matter how many times I say this, I just think that these teams, which we are going into the picks and bans of, these two teams we have today, GG Esports and Supernova, they deserve to be here in the end. And it's two teams, especially GG Esports, which I think is our favorite today, at least it's mine. I think it's a team that has been dominant throughout the season, and it's up to Supernova to show that the last week's performance, which was great, is good enough to rival that of GG Esports. I don't know if you feel the same way, Justy, maybe?
Yeah, I do. I definitely think that Good Game eSports is in the favor in this match, in this first best of 5. Even though I do want to put a finger on top of Drakes from Supernova. He's the most stable player in LCD in general. Over 20 maps played with a steady KDA on 6.54 and with a maximum of 2 deaths in average per game. He's very consistent. And even though Supernova is behind, he's always being consistent enough to always keep track and be in the game, always keeping up with the goal lead. And yeah.
Certainly, and we're already underway with the pick and ban. We've had some technical difficulties. We apologize for that, so we're just going to jump right into it without any further analysis or small talk, chit-chat and all that. What I hear from these guys is, before we talk about the champions, is that Good Game eSports, they're the favorites, but the underdog mentality and possibly the profile of Drakes might be the solution for Supernova. And let's talk about the champions that have already been banned here in the Champs League, boys.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to stress that this is the crucial part for Supernova, because I thought that seeing them last week that it was in the pick and ban phase that they got the number on Singularity, which is a great team as well, and which is in the other semifinals. And I think it's very important to stress that if these bans that they are doing right now are the right ones, then this is the way they can win the game. We have gotten Kaiser, Morgana, and Yasu from one side, and then Vladimir.
Yeah, and those are Good Game eSports bans there, Kaisa, Morgana, and Yasuo, and they're now locking in the Irelia pick. We're going to talk about it in a moment, but first I want to touch on the Vladimir, Rakan, and Anivia ban from Supernova's side as well. We're not going to get that much time to talk about the bans here, so we're just going to jump right into the Irelia pick. What do you think about the champion?
Well, it's, in my opinion, one of these top laners that have changed over time and used to be this carry top laner. It still has very much the potential to be this carry top laner still, but it's also has like this utility option in teamfights now, which makes it a fine first pick and an option for top lane, which makes you sets you up for other positions. So I'm looking forward for the other positions now.
Yeah. Also, as well, don't forget to mention the fact that Irelia can actually be a flex pick as well for mid lane. Exactly. That has been seen before and can work perfectly. So that could be an option as well to like sort of cheese out a strategy from Supernova. But yeah.
Indeed, Irelia is a good pick. You get a lot of options there. On the other side, we've locked in a power pick, or at least traditionally for the last couple of patches, we've had Trundle as a power pick and Ezreal as well. 2 things that Good Game eSports have deemed worthy to just give them over to Supernova. And I know Drake's, for instance, his favorite champion is Ezreal. So, yeah, what do you think this is going to apply itself in the game?
First of all, God tier Ezreal at the moment with double tier build is insane. The damage output is humongous. And the fact that Drakes can get that champion, and as I mentioned before, Drakes is sort of the build stone at this point. So giving him his champion is going to be crucial.
And actually, as we speak here, we're getting an exciting pick. My bad. We're getting an exciting pick because we've already had Talia locked in, but we are seeing the SIGs come through now, and that is really exciting for me personally. I love to see the SIGs, and with the recent nerfs in the AD carry meta, I think this might just be a bot lane SIGs. Am I correct?
I actually have no clue. Like I'm standing here kind of perplexed because I'm thinking Irelia's pretty good mid lane. This Talia is great mid lane. Can be played as a support, but I think it's going to be the mid lane, right?
Yeah.
And then we have this Six. This Six that is known for its wave clear mid lane and team fighting. But as an AD carry, it just does so much work on turrets. It's insane. So I'm looking forward to where they place these champions, but I think it could be definitely could be the AD carry position.
I think 6 is going to be mid lane because Talia has been insane-o Reno in the jungle. I've seen a lot of players playing that champion in the jungle with a insane success. Like really, the damage output on single targets in there in the camps is ridiculous.
And how does the champion? Okay, because this is a new patch, so there's a lot of new stuff going through. That's what I'm hearing here. And Talia, you're saying that she's being played in the jungle.
Yeah, I've seen it.
How does the gank pressure work? I mean, her walls, her knockback, and her ultimate as well, Reaver's wall. Does that work well? Enable her as a jungler?
It does. Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
She struggles a little bit in the beginning until she reaches about level 3, so that she can do the full combo. But from that point and forward, that's insane.
Okay, so you're saying that can be flex picked as
Yeah.
well. What we normally see from Good Game Esports, there's a tendency that Priscorner, their mid laner, normally he goes on this Talia. It is his comfort pick, so we can assume that he will be going on that one. But still, it's nice to have this flex pick option with actually all 3 of the picks. It must be confusing being Supernova right now. On the other side, though, they've locked in a peculiar composition.
I actually think this is pretty smart from Supernova if you consider the other side, because you have these flex picks on the other side and don't really know quite where they're going. They might have a great idea about it. They surely have sometimes, but if you're not quite sure, if you're not 100% sure where the other champions are going, why don't pick a champion composition that really favors yourself?
Pike coming in.
And we've already got our first Pike champion lock-in. This is the new support champion. Nobody knows what he does exactly. We've all watched the champion video, but we have to see him come into fruition in competitive play. And the cojones on Good Game Esports to lock this in their first game. Maybe they think, okay, we're going to pull up. And we ended up with the Jax on their side.
And we are off with a flying start to this first game of our first semifinals.
Oh, really?
5 really great pickups for this GG Esport lineup, which is going to surprise both us and hopefully some viewers and this Supernova team, I think.
Yeah, but that again, as well as Beldorin said, 6 is going to end in the bot lane now,
Probably,
for sure.
Yeah.
And then Jax is probably... an Urgot.
Urgot! We've got an Urgot, sorry. Finish your point there.
That's...
You just have to appreciate the fact that Urgot never gets locked in ever. We've seen the Pike now. We've seen 6. We've seen
Heimerdinger.
Irelia mid. We've actually seen a lot of new cool stuff in LCD, and I hope this is some sort of scouting ground for all the professionals to see either how you should treat these new champions or not to treat them. We're going to get our taste in this game to be certain. And what I would like now, since we've got our full lineups for Good Game Esports and Supernova, I'd like to, Daniel, if you can go over the win conditions for Good Game Esports, and then Storm, if you could go over the win conditions for Supernova afterwards.
Sure.
You want to go first?
Sure, I can do that.
Alrighty.
I think that Supernova is what they did here. What they saw that the other side was picking a lot of flag picks and maybe some oddball champions that you don't usually see. So they, instead of going against their opponent's strategy, they opted more towards their own interests and picked a strategy that revolves around Drakes and revolves around getting a champion ahead and then keeping that champion ahead so that they can buff up this Ezreal. Or potentially Urgot later on. Yeah. Like, because you have a Lulu and you have a Karma, that's a lot of health and a lot of shield, a lot of movement speed. And then with these 2 carries, you can do a lot of damage in a team fight. So they're looking for more of this protect the carry comp, which is a safe bet if you don't really know what you're playing against.
Exactly. The shields are going to come in handy when you go later into the game, and if they get to that point, normally we don't see Ezreal as the hyper carry type, but due to the nerfs to all the AD carry champions, I think this is a very conscious choice from Supernova, and I think deliberately also because Drakes is very proficient on the champion.
And the last point as well is that this Ezreal is a great pickup because it's an Ezreal with a teleport. We see this a lot like at the moment, but it's also a pick that sets up their team fights even more, because they can always make sure that he joins the fight because he has this global pressure, and that also sets them up for great team fights later on, which is the thing they would want to fight about in this team composition.
Yeah.
Indeed. And now we've touched a little bit on the Supernova comp. It's going to be interesting to see this Urgot as a hyper carry. I certainly cross my fingers to see some team fights where he's very, very interactive. But let's go over to the other side, Justy.
Yeah.
We've got Good Game Esports comp, and I would like you to touch a little bit on that.
Yeah, sure. Like, as you can see in the bot lane, we got Pike, first of all. A big thumbs up for Griesen being able to actually secure this champion.
Yeah.
And actually, that we're, and you are able to see this champion on such a high level, first of all. That's going to be amazing.
We're about to find out, certainly.
We're about to find out. And the same goes with 6 as well. Is going for like this siege, as we know, 6 with the explosions, getting turrets fast, rotations. And the same goes with the Aurelia as well, having an easy way to fast push lanes and maybe get some priority in the laning phase to roam to side lanes, which is again going to help a lot out with Italia, because she's able to do the exact same thing. Example would be Weaver's Wall, or just her combo in general is gonna. Yeah.
If we talk about this to Leah here, where would you say she would apply her focus in this game? I mean, I haven't seen Italia jungle. I'm hugely excited to see this. So what lanes do you think she'll be trying to snowball in this game for Good Game Esports?
Oh, that's gonna be on Prisco, and that's gonna be mid lane.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because the bot lane, I'm pretty sure that 6 and Pike is gonna do their thing in the bot lane. And under any circumstances, Ezreal always got his Arcane Shift. So in case something happens, he can get out, and he got the flash as well to make some distance. So that could end up potentially being a waste of time. But
potentially.
Yeah, potentially. But Aurelia, in the other hand, getting her to snowball is going to be insane.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you have a Lulu without a gap closer, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if we touch on the team composition as a whole, what I see here is we have the Jax, we have the Aurelia. Those guys are going to go in for the back line. Pike as well is now a guy, an assassin sort of support. It's kind of weird to have that sort of thing going.
But I need to stress that it's not only in the mid lane they have a chance to get a kill. Because with this Weaver's Wall with Talia, you can after level 6 go to top lane and start camping this Urgot, which does not have a lot of range to close. Like he doesn't really get away fast, and getting a Jax ahead is like always a way to win.
Exactly.
So pre-level 6 you can go for the Lulu, but after she gets her wild growth and starts to get a little more self-reliant, I think it'll be hard to kill her as well in the mid lane. So it's all fun and games until we end the game, and we are currently loading into Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, exactly. We are on the way, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, we're here. We're having the first semi-final game between Good Game Esports and Supernova. If you're out there in the chat, make your callers shown, make your callers known. Who are you rooting for? Hashtag Good Game Esports or hashtag Supernova. We're excited to see a lot of new ballsy picks in this Champ Select. Let's get on with it.
So, Storm, what do you think that we're about to see here in the first 5 minutes?
Well, I think you touched on it pretty well, honestly. I think this GG eSport line is going to go out with a priority on the lanes and try to really dominate more of the lanes, go for some potentially early ganks, and that way impact the lanes. Not as much going for the jungle route. I don't think Talia is a great counter jungler per se, so I think they will go more for the mid lane and then potentially the top lane, whereas the bot lanes should get to do their thing with Chu on this 6, pushing down turrets all game. So I think we're going to see this Supernova lineup trying to see if they can get maybe a free Drake or just farm up potentially.
Yeah, and since we didn't really have any warm-up due to this delay we had here, we didn't get to talk about the actual players in the game and who are going to stand out in this game. The profiles for each team, I'd like us to touch on that real quick. And real quickly, I would like to hear from you gentlemen, which lane or which person is going to get the first blood in this game?
Oh.
What champion might as well be the guess as well, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Aurelia.
Yeah, this is one of those questions that are usually really hard to answer, and it's fun to speculate on, but Aurelia is a good guess, I think.
Yeah, but I don't get why Vivifika has Ignite in this scenario, because he's not going to be able to, or I don't think he's going to have the option to bully and win a direct fight against Aurelia. He might have a range advantage, you know the
Telvi,
you know the matchup.
sneaks up on well, it's the opposite way around. Roll Swapper, aka Finfin, is finding Telvi as he climbs up into the top lane, and he gets a bit of a chunk on him there. I'm gonna hold you to an answer for the entirety of the series real quick before we go on. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 3-2 victory for Good Game Esports, but you guys are gonna have to answer real quick before we see the first blood come through.
Well, I'm gonna say the same. 3-2.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier today as well, and I'm a bit more pessimistic. Even though I watched Supernova's games last week and I thought they performed really great, I'm still gonna give more of the edge over to Good Game Esports and give them like a 3-1. I think Supernova will take one game due to careful planning, but I don't think it'll be more than that. That's at least my opinion.
No, and that's definitely a testament to how dominant Good Game Esports have been.
Oh, and we see an engage down here from Griesen. He's going really low in this. And first blood goes over to Thalia and Seaboy on this GG Esport lineup. Great start out of the gates here from the GG lineup.
Yeah, and we see immediately this Pyke come into play, and the way he is able to gap close with his hooks, and I don't recall what his abilities are called, but he's able to gap close really quickly, and Jeppe is being caught out in this situation. He burns his flash, but goes down anyway, and that,
Yeah, now they're going in mid again. This is Griesen doing his thing. Once again, double taunt, and then a flash. We see the double stun coming out, really making life difficult for Vivifika, which goes down after flashing. So 2-0 now to Good Game Esports, and they're really out of the gate flying.
We are only 3.5 minutes into the game, and I'm beginning to think that prediction I just made, along with Justy, might have been a bit too bold. 2-0 for Good Game Esports. They're already 800 gold trending upward, and, well, Supernova, they might want to catch their breath and calm down a little bit, wait for their summoners to get back online. The gold lands, let's see who gets the kills here. It is actually both of the kills going over to Seaboy on this Thalia, so we're going to see what you touched on, Justin, a very, very snowballed Thalia.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to the map.
I'm excited to see how Seaboy is going to perform on Thalia throughout the whole game. One thing is that we see him having 2 kills here, and he gets the support from some of the other players on Good Game Esports.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that when they scale and they get or we get further into the game, that he's gonna perform mechanically good on her.
Oh, look
Not
at this,
necessarily.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
Down at the minimap, we see Griesen doing his thing once again. This is the third time in the match that he roamed out
Coming in
of the
from
top lane.
behind.
Up top side, we see another gank. This is Telvi in problem right now.
Sidestep.
He sidesteps really nicely and then gets out of dodge without using his flash even.
Actually, really well played from Telvik here. He gets out safely, but
Let's see here if Vivifika is in problem again. He does not seem to have his flash, and that means he is definitely dead to Priest Corner. And this gank here in the mid lane. Great stuff out of Good Game Esports, which has really taken this priority.
Telvi.
The dive!
And then Seaboy gets another kill top lane. Tower diving here only 5 minutes into the game.
He gets through with the pillar and the stones, as it were, and Telvi goes down. He has a nice sidestep mechanic on the first try for Seaboy, but he just keeps pressuring. He feels comfortable enough to push the pedal to the metal, which is definitely what Good Game Esports are doing now. 4-0 after 5 minutes. Supernova, they might want to just, take it easy, try to stall this game now, and don't be too stressed about it. There are more games to come, and don't spend all your energy on this one. It seems like it is in GGE's control to just, snowball this game through and through.
And I'm getting kind of worried for this Supernova's pick and ban phase now, because if Griesen keeps up this great play on a neo champion like Pyke, that means that he not only is really favorite in this kind of roaming situation with Pyke, but also with an Alistar, and that means they can't really ban him out anymore, and that is really interesting.
See, now that's something that I was about to say as well, because he's well known for his Alistar. And having Pyke in here as well, with the rest of his champion pool, is gonna be a living hell for Supernova, because they can't ban him out.
Situation in the mid lane again. Close stuff here from Griesen and Seaboy, who came in together to try and see if they could get a kill. Down bot side, we see Achu using his flash respectfully to get out of dodge. And another kill averted from GG Esports.
Definitely, definitely. If we look a little bit at the vision coming through for the Good Game Esports team here, and for Supernova as well, where would, if you want to comment on it, I see a lot of pink wards, or at least a couple pink wards in the bottom side river territory for for Good Game Esports, but the top side is prioritized for Supernova. So they might want to play towards their seemingly one-win condition right now, which is their Urgot, and let the bot lane do whatever it is that they need to do.
Yeah, because Drake needs to scale. Drake needs to get some items. He got the tier, but that's it.
Ooh, engaged down here bot side. The Mega Infernal Bomb was used, and now Priscon is going in. He's getting a double kill
kill.
And he is really popping off, I'd rather say. This is great damage early on in the game. 3-0-1 is this Aurelia already, and this team with a 6-1 score is really taking off right now.
Definitely. C-Boy goes down in the back half of that, so Supernova actually get a consolation kill.
Don't ban Nita, are you in trouble here?
Ooh, it's slight miss, very well flashed from Fin here.
And
this
is Don't Ban Nita being one of the only shining stars on this Supernova team at the moment. The only guy with an actual positive score in CS, and the guy who has been almost invisible during the early game. He has been farming up a storm and is now currently the only one able to almost challenge some of the players.
To be fair to Telvik on his Urgot here, the champion looks to be very comfortable for him. He is 10, well, he was 10 CS ahead. Now he evens it up because he has a wave collapsing on his turret, a roll swapper here. But they're doing well in the top lane, solo lane, but not so great for the lack of carry champion in the mid lane, and I don't think it's a comfortable pick for Vivifika. I don't think we've ever seen him on Lulu before. So,
no.
So Supernova, okay, they're testing this off. I think it's great that they do it in the first game. You know, shake it off if this is going to be a loss. It certainly looks like it right now, and the gold lead has a cataclysmic, well, not cataclysmic, but in 8.5 minutes, it's risen to 2,000 gold lead approximately, a little bit more. So Good Game Esports in a sweet spot.
Yeah, because Vivifika has always been on these more control mage types on the mid lane, and giving him a support champion like Lulu, like I totally get the idea of their composition, but that's not where he shines, and it's rough for him, and you can see that as well. And it's and Grisen, as the way that he plays, and the way Grisen plays is known for his very aggressive playstyle, always roaming, especially towards mid lane, and you've seen him top lane as well sometimes. So giving him Pyke as well, setting it up with Priscon is going to make it very, very rough for Vivi.
And look at this now. They've maintained or gained the control in the bottom side river from Good Game Esports, and what they're looking to do is to get this Ocean Drake, which is really, really good in the early game because you get to self-sustain some sort of HP and some mana, so you can maintain your laning phase in a really, really good way. They're probably looking to end this laning phase really soon, but the Ocean Drake assists them in maintaining this pressure.
And we must remember that even though it looks kind of bad for Supernova at the moment, this game is not nearly over yet. It's still a game where they have a chance to scale up to the later parts of the game. And they haven't really gotten this Jax ahead on GG Esports yet, which is crucial for Supernova, because if they want to fight in fights later on, this Jax cannot get a lead. Don't Ban Nita in major trouble here. Gets to use his subjugate. Is it enough to keep him alive? Wild Growth is always there for him. Vivifika doing his thing, and now Priscon is in trouble.
It's a turnaround.
Ignite and shot down here to Drake, and a kill over to this Supernova lineup that really needs it at the moment.
This was a 3-0 Irelia. He gets the full amount of gold for this shutdown, and Drake's. This is exactly the guy you touched on, Justy. He's the guy that plays consistently for Supernova, and most of the time anyways. And if they can get this guy some sort of gold advantage, he can start making these plays. Very, very smart and very, very well-executed turnaround for Supernova. Problem is, now they don't have a teleport top side, and that is something they can abuse from Good Game Esports side here.
But even though as well, if you look at it, as you mentioned, Drake's, he's having a rough time bot lane because of the roaming Grisen on Pyke, but also the clearing speed on 6 is gonna be like it's tough. That all you got is Mystic Shot, and you got your auto attacks, but that's basically it, more or less. So and if you look at the CS difference at this point, he's actually keeping up pretty good. He still has a lead in kills, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he has more gold. He got the shutdown though, but still. So the fact that he's actually able to keep up still in this point is also going to confirm that he's very consistent.
It's very good for Supernova, and you know, you don't have to win the first game as well. I'm not going to count them out yet because that's not fair to them.
No.
But still, it's very, very it's very well performed from Good Game Esports to apply this pressure. And Supernova, they will probably awake to this sort of pressure and realize, okay, this is what they're going to do from the early game. They're going to try to snowball it as quickly as they can, and maybe when we get to the late game, if they let Supernova get to the late game, they can make these plays that equalize this game into a way more even matchup. Currently, though, we're 12 minutes into the game, and they've almost smashed down 2 turrets from Good Game Esports side. Still, though, only the 1, and that means they're almost 3,000 gold ahead.
And this is exactly the point we need to get to, because it's not just the kills anymore that's crucial. It's these turrets. If these turrets go down too fast and Supernova can't protect them, that's the way that this GG Esport lineup gets to push the game further ahead and potentially close it out in a fast order. This Supernova lineup really needs to protect the turrets, and if they can do that, then they can actually fight against a team which is mostly magic damage based, and a team that they can actually build items towards protecting themselves against.
Indeed, and the shields, their value just increase as we go over more and more time. So the Lulu and Karma is going to be really, really oppressive combo. We all remember the Ardent Sensor meta. It's not quite died out on the middle of the floor, bled out there, right there. So we're going to still see the opportunity to play for these shields, and as we see Good Game Esports apply the pressure towards the top lane, they actually back out. Let's talk a little bit about the vision they're applying here. It seems like Good Game Esports, they're playing for the top side turret and the mid turret simultaneously right now.
Like, it sort of makes sense now that they got 6, because the mid lane turret is low enough. He just needs to place the bomb, and they can rotate towards top. So if he's able to wave clear it, and they can bait the rest of Supernova towards top lane, because they need to protect it if they start sieging, 6 is gonna be in the mid lane alone, and he can bomb the turret, get it, rotate. And he still has his ultimate, the Mega Bomb, so that he has the range to support as well. So he can still have an influence if a fight breaks out.
Exactly, and the good thing about Six is exactly that. He gets to control these waves exactly the way he wants. Unless you really just commit to him and get him down and out right off the bat, there's not going to be a lot of fun for the Six.
Vivi.
We are even having fun watching Grisen going up here against Vivi Figure. Even though it's a level 6 Grisen support pike, he still looks absolutely terrifying when going up against this level 9 mid laner. Because he always does this. He finds these small opportunities to roam around the map and look for kills.
Yeah, and I really like this. You know, let your support be the playmaker for once. So many times in League of Legends, we don't get to focus on the support. This is a team that prioritizes, that Grisen gets the time to actually go out and make plays on the map, set up your actual carries, and this time around, he's on a champion that might be somewhat considered a carry.
And he might not have gotten killed this time around, but he got the turret, and that's what they did. Oh, Drakes, my boy, you got to flash twice, and that's just enough to save your life. Drakes with a really close play to get out alive.
Yeah, that means they force him off the turret. They get the pressure they want.
Don't Bandita flashing out as well. Also used here from Anivia, from Irelia, I'm sorry, and then Priskone going really low, actually dying here to Don't Banditas with the turret. That's close up. I don't think he expected that.
Coming in
to the side, flashing in here, finding Grisen out of position.
Massive.
He dies to Jeppe Hall, and then he's going after the Sea-Boy now, Telvi and the others.
Polymorph.
Jeppe Hall really close to dying, but they do get the kill. They get a 3-for-1, and now they're back against this GG lineup, at least in kills.
That was very well played.
Yeah,
a good collapse.
Exactly. Supernova, they come in, they show their teeth. Telvi comes in with a really great flank here, and honestly, I think that's the way you want to utilize this Urgot. Get some damage off with all the multiple shots he gets from all the angles there. I don't quite recall what they're called, but still though, we get 2 turrets in advantage for Good Game Esports, and yeah, that means they snowball a little bit further, but actually it's just around 3,000 gold right now, so it's not snowballed that much because they get the kills on the backhand, and a lot of those kills were shutdowns for the sake of Supernova. So they're still in the game, one might say, and we're just currently hitting the crust of 16 minutes.
But also, now that you mention it, Urgot, late game with the Echo Flames, it damages on percentages of your health. Even though you take multiple shots, the damage is being reduced by a bit, but still. And the thing about Urgot is that he's becoming very tanky, and he hurts a lot. And they even removed it that when he uses his ultimate, he's not being, he can move around. He doesn't have to be static, he doesn't have to stand still. He can move freely the way that he wants, which he could not do before. So he's very a good pick.
Yeah, I agree, and one of the better remakes for Riot. I don't like the Swain, for instance, but Urgot remake, I actually do
solid.
like the way they rearranged that champion. It seems like a lot of thought went into it. And it is one of Telvi's comfort champions, so I assume we're not going to see the last of it just this game. Currently, Good Game Esports, though, they're pressuring the bot side turret here, and the Sigs is certainly not doing Supernova any favors, just trying to hit the pokes, the bombs onto the turret here, and it's already at half HP.
And I'm just going to point out here that this is a GG lineup with 2 Ocean Drakes at the moment.
Ooh, waiting for the Weaver's Wall, maybe?
Yeah, he's looking for a little engage here, Seaboy. Maybe Grisen was about to find one,
Oh.
but yeah, he's looking for it here. He gets knocked back. Oh, that's a lot of damage on this mid laner. Vivifica almost dying here, flashing back. Grisen going very low, already dying here to Vivifica due to the turret damage, and then they back off again. But as I was about to say that, Telvi is getting into position here, finding Fin here. But he's all alone, gets knocked back again by Talia, and then he is in deep trouble. Seaboy gets the kill on this Talia. Vivifica goes down before this Irelia himself dies, and then it's Jeppe Ho in problems. Again, Achu. Shut down over to Achu, and another kill to this GG lineup.
So a situation that turns out to be all right for Supernova. The turret was going to go down anyway. Turns into they get a kill, they get a shutdown off of it. But then Telvik, he thinks he finds only a top laner in the jungle, but he's about to find out, hey, a lot of other guys hiding in the bushes. And it gets to become just a really, really well-rounded fight. Chaotic, I might add, for Good Game Esports. And yes.
Yeah, and look at this. They got to go up and take the turret afterwards, after they already got one turret. And that's because they have these Ocean Drakes. After losing fights, or even just getting an even fight, they get to heal up while on the battlefield, and the opposing team has to back off while they're taking their turrets. So this is really great for a GG Esports, that they get to siege with ranged champions and keep up both mana and health.
I totally get as well that Supernova is trying to desperately defend their vision control as well. Even as you see here where Telvik wants to protect the pink ward. Because they don't have a lot of vision control at this point. And further, the more and more that GGs keep pressuring into their territory and jungle, and extending their line of sight, that's gonna make trouble for Supernova. Because they can't exit the base.
Yeah, and the thing they're going to contest, now they're pushed so far behind, they're just going to have to realize from Supernova's side, I feel, that, okay, Baron is coming up in 50 seconds. Try to maintain as much vision you can, and you can see it right now, the pink wards are in the red side jungle. They want to have the vision approximately close enough to the Baron so they can see the movement, track the movement on Good Game Esports, and then maybe try to contest. I'd say it probably has to be a throw at Baron from Good Game Esports side here, now that they are actually...
and they find Don't Bandita. This is the jungler going down. Maybe. Wild Growth is used. Let's see if he gets the heal. He doesn't. Chris gonna get a kill, and that means the jungler is out of the picture.
Yeah, and just about 20 seconds from the Baron to spawn here. We touched a little bit on it. Seaboy is cleaning out a pink ward here, and it's obvious to everyone that they're looking to apply pressure in this top side, specifically because of the Baron, but also because of the standing tier 2 turret here up in the top side. So, you know, 2 flies with 1 swat there.
Yeah, but they're very objective orientated, and it's lovely. It's nice to be a part of and see how much they actually prioritize and the tempo. They keep it up and they keep pressuring all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Telvi might look for an engage here. He flashes in, gets a chew with his engage, and then gets to execute him right on the spot. A kill here for Supernova that ties it up 1-1 in the fight. And that means they can hang on at least for a little bit longer here as Don't Bandita's revived himself in Fountain.
Yeah, exactly. Really nicely played, but if you look in the bot lane, Jax is having his way with the turret down there, and they might just wave and smile to that one. That's going to go over to Good Game Esports. Don't Bandita is on a, well, exciting adventure, but it might end up in him dying. This time it doesn't, however, and they escalate the gold lead further in advantage for Good Game Esports. They're almost 10,000 gold ahead right now. So 21 minutes, 10,000 gold lead, I think that's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
And nice to see that GG Esports doesn't try to chew bigger RPs than they can handle. Like they back off and go home to recollect their thoughts and see if they can find a new angle into this Supernova base, because this tactic top lane didn't work out for them, and they need to find a new way into the base. And it's getting harder and harder for this
One
GG
versus
lineup.
one. No, it turns into a 2 versus 3 versus 1.
3 versus 1 here in the bot lane. Telvi is going for
Reverse
the
wall save!
Reverse wall comes in and potentially saves his teammate here. Only Drakes is able to flash over, and he is abruptly needs to back off. Riesen goes in for the kill, but doesn't really hit his ultimate, and then he goes down. A kill for Supernova. That's definitely not what they wanted. They wanted to save their top laner, and in exchange they offer up their support. Riesen goes down, and let's see how long it takes them to build up a new sort of pressure on this GG.
That Weaver's wall?
Yeah, very well executed Reaver's wall. You said something about Seaboyd might not being able to pull off the great mechanics on the team.
Oh yeah,
he's proving us wrong here.
Oh yeah.
Very excellent save from him, and in a nice way to utilize that wall. It's not an offensive utilization, but you know you can use it the other way as well, and it's just nice to see it come through in that way. Plus you get the better angles from.
You do.
Right, you just stand out there in the jungle and you're chilling. All right, if I just time it right here, just there. You know, I might
look
just
at this
get
guy,
blocked
just
on.
getting all the gold, the yellow screen of gold from Irelia when she farms side. I just love to see that. Maybe a lovely fight as well down here bot side. Infernal Bomb almost takes down the third Ocean Drake, but this one goes over to Supernova eSports, which means they actually tie up one Drake to 2. And
Yeah,
now
but
let's
is
see
it
if
worth it?
Greason finds an engage
is
here
the
over
hook going?
the wall. Doesn't really hit his hook, and that means he can back off.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Good Game Esports, they actually apply the pressure topside, and they get the inhibitor turret there. So that's actually 2 open inhibitors now. It is looking pressured for Supernova. They do get something in those fights, but it seems more to be mistakes or greediness, a little bit over-commitment from Good Game Esports. And
Cheeky.
yeah. But, you know, you might as well test the waters in this game as well. You're 10,000 gold behind. Ooh,
Root doesn't connect here. Greason feeling a little lucky, going for Jeppe Hov here for the support battle of the ages. I don't know if you can call it that, but...
not much of a bad.
Maybe he finds a bad...
Ignite?
And this time he does not stand a chance. Jeppe Hov goes down. I think even Ignite was used on that one, but... they make sure that they get the kill even through a possible shield.
Yeah, and it's a bit bad-mannered of Seaboy here, interfering with a manly duel between the supports here. It would have been nice to see the Karma versus the Pike, but still, nonetheless, it applies the pressure for Good Game Esports, and they're looking towards the Baron.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're not even just looking at it, they're going for it. Down here in the bot lane, we see Fin going on Telvi, trying to get him out of the fight before the Baron really goes down. And that means that he can potentially even get the kill. And he gets him with the leap strike. Meanwhile, Baron goes down, and this is another 2 things for Good Game Esports. They are 13-9 in kills at the moment. 1 Baron up, and are currently having all the things down here in the bot side. Let's see if Fin gets into trouble. He's the man getting chased out the base.
Flash
meanwhile, in mid, they find Don't Banita, and that means with another person down that they can possibly go up and take this inhibitor for free.
And it's a wide miss from
it doesn't look good here.
If they keep chasing him like this is bad for the Supernova team. Even if they get him, they do get him, but look at this inhibitor. They can potentially get even a turret down here in mid lane.
They might go for the end here, and okay, they choose the safe path. They're going to go for the other inhibitor here. It's only BBFika's Lulu here to defend the entirety of the map. Seaboy is actually playing interference in the bot lane, so that might result.
Flank.
But now we see
Potential
a teleport
flank.
coming in here from
yeah,
Telvi.
definitely. They want to go from the backside here. Telvi coming in from the back. Let's see if he finds Greason. He's going for something at least.
No,
that's definitely not him finding anybody. He got dunked on and gets killed by the entire GG lineup. That means that the GG lineup is currently 4 against 4 in the side of enemy base with a Baron buff. They're going for these Nexus turret. Can they find them with the poke, with the damage, and with the skill shots? They go for Don't Banita. Let's see here. He goes down! And Seaboy is out of the picture now. They are trading 1 for 1 at the moment.
They're trading 1 for 1, but they get the turret. And if you look at this whole seance of plays we've had here, it best described, you get to bake your cake and eat it too. That's what's Good Game Esports. They're the embodiment of that right now. It might look even on the kill score 15-11, but we are 13,000 gold ahead. 2 inhibitors down. Still Baron buff on 4 people from Good Game Esports. They are definitely in the driver's seats on this one.
Oh yeah. And the thing as well, mid lane and the top lane is going to push passively because of the super minions. So they can easily just put full focus onto bot lane and just let the wave do its work for them and just wait. Because Supernova needs to rotate. They need to protect their Nexus turrets.
Exactly, and that looks like what they're going to do here. They're going to throw Jax up in the top lane because he has his teleport up, so obviously they're going to have him play a little bit interference up there, but the other guys are slowly pathing down towards the bot lane, you say here, Justy, and Supernova, they are probably looking
They might even fight a fight. They speed up the entire team. Jeppe with the mantra, but it's not enough. They get stunned up by Aurelia. Blue buff goes over to...
Feels bad.
I think Atsu got it.
Yeah.
I do think Atsu got that one. I'm not sure. We're going to have to look. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. He finally got it. He's thrown a lot of Infernal Bombs on a lot of objectives in this game, but he ends up getting this blue buff this time. It seems, however, a little bit irrelevant.
C-Boy looking for people over the wall here, but doesn't really find them.
But look at the minions as well.
Pops down Vivifica to health. He needs to go back to the fountain.
Oh.
And meanwhile, Don't Ban Nita gets caught out. Weaver's wall is channeled. Jeppe gets caught on the wrong side of the wall, and now he goes down. Inhibitors not long for this world as well, and the Nexus turrets are next in line. The base is in the rise of this GG lineup, and they're looking to finish the game out. 2 kills in the fountain. The Nexus goes down, and 1-0 to GG eSports in the first game.
Definitely. A convincing game from Good Game Esports in this first one, and I like the one you said about Jeppe ending on the other side of the wall. In this case, he is a wildling, and he is being butchered by the Night's Watch. Good Game Esports, they closed this one out in very, very determined fashion, and with a lot of oddball picks, I might add. Yeah, let's go over what we actually saw in this one.
Yeah, I don't know if this GG lineup is yelling winter's coming, but it's definitely looking kind of grim for this Supernova team after the first game. What a dominant performance in the early game for this GG lineup.
No, but I totally agree. Like their performance, their rotations, they're aggressive. They know their win conditions and they stick to it. And they like Simon or Baldorin said, they're in the driving seat and it's just full throttle.
And one of the things that springs to mind or in the eyes, I'd have to say this Pyke, Grisen on this Pyke, this champion just seems like the perfect fit for him.
Oh, yeah.
He roamed off early, 2.5, 3 minutes into the game. They get their first blood off of this hook from Grisen, and then the second blood as well is the Pyke as well in the mid lane. He just, he keeps looking for it all over the map.
Yeah, I was just, we were chatting with him earlier. I got to meet him, and he was like joking around, like, I really want to play Pyke, and handing it off as a joke, right? And he was like, okay, sure thing, go ahead, play that in solo queue.
We're not sure.
And then he pulls it out here, right? Shows that he's actually practiced it with the team, maybe. I don't know, but it looked clean. It looked very clean, and it looked like a possible new ban as well, on top of the already really intimidating Alistar he already plays.
Yeah. No, but I totally agree. It's going to be a pain for Supernova to try ban out somebody or someone on GG.
Point. Exactly. At this point, who do you choose to ban out?
Exactly. You have to choose somebody, but you can't just take one champion from each, because, as you said, let's say Pyke is out, Alistar is in. Alistar is out, Pyke is in.
Yeah. But I don't think you can really just ban out a person anymore on this GG lineup.
No.
You have to go for maybe a... I don't know if you can even go after precision. You have to go after the champions that you don't want to play against.
Yeah.
And if the Talia's the problem, then you go for the Talia again, so they can play it mid and they can play it jungle.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, and it's up to this Supernova team to find out. Or maybe... if you have a better guess than I do.
I'm going to stick to my guts on this one as well. I'm just going to say Supernova, they got caught with their pants down in this one. And they're just going to have to realize that the pressure is going to be applied to them from the actual get-go. And if they get the champions, regardless if they get the champions they assume they can apply pressure with in the early game, well, Supernova just, knock it off. Ignore this game and just move on to the next one, Take the lesson, move on, play the next one, start over.
Yeah.
That's their entry point. For Good Game Esports, however, I just think they should continue the way they're doing right now, and they look like a very, very strong contender for the actual winning team. But on that note, you can tune back in 5 minutes to presume or resume this Battle of Titans. We're certainly excited to cast the rest of this game for you. So 5 minutes, and then we'll be back approximately 16:10.
If we do that, is that going to be 15 minutes?
No.
All of us?
No,
okay.
5 minutes.
5, 10, 20?
It's once 5.
Okay.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with the, I almost said second round of Good Game Esports versus Supernova. And very convincing match, as we spoke of before, for the favor of Good Game Esports. And since we didn't get to touch so much on the players in the pre-match before, I'd like to touch on some of the individuals that shone out in this previous game for you guys. Start with you, Daniel.
Sure. Yeah, but let me go over some from Good Game Esports then, because I'm a big fan of Griesen. I'm a support player myself as well, and I do admire his work. The way he plays, his aggressive plays especially. And we mentioned a tiny bit about his Alistar as well, and now the Pyke. The Pyke performance on him was amazing, and it is a champion that just fits him very well. And the same goes for like the 6 flicks as well, or a flex pick on 6 was amazing. Like I honestly didn't.
Flicks,
yeah. I didn't. I never saw it coming because I totally got that Talia was in the jungle, but I was like, where do we put in the 6 in this case when we got the Aurelia? And I said in the beginning, Aurelia is gonna be mid, but where does 6 go? And then Beldoran said, have you thought about the AD 6 or the bot lane 6?
We certainly got a lot of things. A Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
A lot of traditional things turned around in that game. Good Game Esports really showed us what we can come to expect of this new patch in the League of Legends client. Players that stood out for you.
Maybe even C-Boy found his precious.
Oh yeah.
Because he just really put on a show on this Talia, going from lane to lane, getting kills here and there, hitting the knockbacks, using the Weaver's Wall to save lives and destroy team fights. I was really impressed by C-Boy's play on this totally different jungler than we usually see.
Yeah, I totally
Like
agree.
2 kills in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Something like that. He certainly found the entry points for these ganks. He applied pressure, and sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. Most of the times it did. And then he had a really, really cool save where he blocked off the wildlings off the other side of the wall, and I really enjoyed that play. But we're getting into the next game here, and that means we're going to get to see some new champions, probably, some new bans. And if you want to touch on some of the things you think Supernova has to focus on this game.
Well, they went out the gate picking this team comp around Drakes and really trying to set him up for success, and then having like a secondary carry in Telvi on this Urgot. And I think that this was a pretty good idea for the picking bans, because they really didn't know what to expect from the other side. But they ended up not really having any play whatsoever in the early game, and that just made it too easy for GG Esports to dominate the lanes. And even though they got priority on the top lane, Supernova, I would like to see them contest more for some of the other 2 lanes as well. Not in like all 3 of them entirely, but like at least 2 of the lanes. They need to fight for them.
Yeah, exactly, but that's just the way that you say as well. In the bot lane, Griesen was roaming, making it a 2v1 lane. But 6's wave clear is annoying, because you can't handle it. That's gonna make it hard for Drakes to push, because he's Ezreal. You can't just shove a lane.
Exactly, and that's what we saw. They had the control the entirety of the time. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to stop you now and start with the champ select, because we've entered that right now. Hey,
yeah.
And off the bat here, we see a Talia ban from Supernova Esports. So that's one of the champions we touched on a little bit, and we don't want to see that as a potential flex pick, is what they're saying in this one. Let's talk about the other bans a little bit here.
What do you think about Vladimir?
Well, I think this is a typical ban away from... Vivifika played this a lot previously, and I've seen it on Priskon as well. It's a great all-around mid laner that gets to really shine in the team fights. And if they ban the way at Vladimir, they can set themselves up to win these team fights, because they won't have to worry about Vladimir later on. And that maybe gets us a clue about them going for some kind of team fight comp again. It's hard to say though.
And Aurelia goes out as the last ban, so these 2 flex pick champions, they don't want those. But that means as well, if Good Game Esports are not willing to ban the Pyke because they don't feel it is a threat from Supernova, it's going to be left up for Griesen to again take up the reins in this one and ride it all the way home, as it were. We're looking for the last ban here. They've banned Morgana from Good Game Esports side, and the last ban is actually Anivia, one of the more proficient picks for Vivifika on Supernova. He's played that a lot.
The best champion in League.
No, but there's been 2 bans now. It's the second time she's being banned as well. She was banned in the first game as well, and she got a minor buff on her Q, which is gonna... It increases her AP ratio, but it's gonna be on the detonation and on the pass-through. So it's a double buff, sort of, in the ratio.
And it gives a nice little buffer to Anivia's early game where she can trade a lot better in the laning phase, and that's usually been the problem of Anivia in higher level play, that she doesn't really trade as well as some of the other high tier mid laners, and that means that she doesn't really get to her late game or even participate in fights early on. But now that she gets a little bit of a boost, it could potentially sway her. But let's not talk about Anivia, even though I could do that all day. Let's get into the picks, because we actually got already 2 of them.
We've got 2 of them, and I was about to say Froggen out there somewhere is smiling because of these buffs for Anivia. But let's talk about the picks here. We are getting the Alistar for Good Game Esports, along with the Ezreal. 2 power picks, and I don't know if it actually nullifies this Rakan a little bit, because if he goes in, you can just knock him up as well. If you only get to hit the Alistar, what's the what are you gonna do with it, right?
Yeah, but if Jeppe Hau decides to engage, he can just headbutt him out. So he's gonna neutralize the engage. He could use his ultimate and maybe do some stuff, but it's still gonna neutralize the engage on the first sort of combo on Rakan. Exactly. So it's gonna be hard for him in the laning phase.
Yeah, it seems like actually the kill pressure goes over. We haven't seen the AD carry yet, but they're hovering Kai'Sa. But it seems like it would go over to this Good Game Esports. I know Ezreal and Alistar, they're probably going to get pushed in a little bit, but kill pressure is still going to be there, and we've seen how Good Game Esports communicate. Well, not communicate, but see how fast they play. And if C-Boy gets to join this bot lane, they certainly have the correct amount of tools to enable their bot lane there.
And I hope this isn't an oversight from the GG lineup, because last game they did ban out Kai'Sa, and they got Drakes on Ezreal, which means that in this game they picked up Ezreal to try and see if Drakes could play something else, but I think they forgot to ban Kai'Sa, or at least they're expecting it or something. But this is one of the champions we've seen Drakes really perform on, and if he's going to shine, then this is one of the targets that he wants to be on.
Oh yeah.
I totally agree, but it also depends on what kind of setup you're running along with the Kai'Sa. Rakan is certainly one of those huge teamfight champions. Trundle applies himself both defensively and offensively. I want to touch on this Alistar, because it all depends whether or not they're willing to pull the trigger when inevitably Grisen is going to roam, right? Then you have the Rakan, and they have the Ezreal Arcane Shift, right? He has the ability to get out of these fights, but if they can execute properly, they can snowball and get the turret bot side while Grisen is out roaming. But I think that bot lane will be pushed in.
I think so as well. I think it's going to be a struggle when Grisen decides to roam. And I know he's probably going to do it, because that's what he's known for. He has pressure on the whole map. Sort of like a little global ultimate, is just a player.
but before we get as far as to talk about the entire team composition, I would like to just point out that this Camille pick right before the bans was really smart from GG Esports. You pick up like a fighter that's able to lock down the AD carry, and against an Kai'Sa, that's really important that you use this Hextech ultimatum to lock her down in the zone and then kill her outright before she takes over the entire team fights. So really smart pickup, and then we get into the picks, into the second rotation bans, which is, funnily enough, 3 mid laners.
It is 3 mid laners, and this time they don't judge this Camille to be a flex pick. It becomes 4 in the end there. And I think, at least in sort of what I might think would come out of this champion flag now, I think Supernova, they're probably going to go for the Urgot again. I think Telvi looked pretty strong in it in the early game, and he had a good flank. He also had a lot of sort of misplays, but you know, 50-50 is still a pretty good percentage chance of actually hitting it outright in this game.
Yeah, it seemed like he only had like trouble, so to speak, with the Jax. Because when they had the fights, he was dealing out a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And he had the sustain as well with the rest of the team, with the shields from the Lulu and the Karma.
Yeah, and I think that this is Supernova trying to go back to something that maybe didn't work in the first game, but has worked in their scrims perhaps, or in the training, and then trying to see if they can fit it together better, like maybe sew up some rough patches and then get it on, to really fit, because the opposing team is not as early game oriented as it was last game, which means that this combo might work this time around.
Yeah, and we see an Amumu get locked in here. We haven't been informed yet of whether or not that is a flex pick, but I think we can go ahead and assume that it is, since Trundle has already been locked in. I don't expect Supernova to be so ballsy as to play the the sad little mummy up in the top lane there.
No.
On the other side, okay, so they go for a Corki as the last pick, and again,
I like the Corki
champion-
pick.
Yeah, the Corki is a pick that Vivi Fika has been able to enable himself on. But just as many times, I feel he's fallen short on this champion as well. It is a wave clear champion. You have to make the packages count, and then it's up to Supernova to communicate how they're going to use that in this game.
I'm kind of excited to see if Vivi is going to abuse Singed.
What the fudge?
But I like that. I like the Singed pick, though, first of all. But yeah, the Corki, I love it. But as Beldorian said, it's true. But if you can make the package count and the Valkyrie roam, make it worth it, Corki with a
can,
Triforce hurts a lot. And the damage output is amazing. It's insane. Especially if you get a good lead.
Exactly, and you get the early game spike.
Yeah, and I was just going to touch on the exact same point that you made earlier with Corki, that with this mid laner you get wave clear.
Yeah.
And I think that looking at the rest of this Supernova lineup, this is the paramount thing you needed in that lineup. You didn't really need the Lulu's mid to support your AD carry. You didn't really need more engage. You just needed the wave clear to be able to hold out turrets or maybe just push him down from afar. So I'm pretty confident that this is a better lineup from Supernova during the second draft phase.
I agree.
Definitely, and this time around, okay, we see the Ornn. I assume that Amumu was the Ornn in this case, so it's a tanky top laner this time around, and they're gonna match that and go on. They're gonna go ahead and match it with a Singed. It's an exciting pick. We've not seen a lot, and I'm excited to see if Role Swapper would like to proxy farm a little bit.
Well, I do have to disagree with you a little bit, because we have seen Singed quite a lot actually recently.
Yeah, but in LCD, I mean, we've seen it a couple times, sure, but...
Well, yeah. But we've started to pick him up during recent weeks in LCD as well, where he has been seen more and more as this counter pick to Ornn specifically.
Tanks in general.
Yeah, and tanks in general, because he's just really good at farming up and then destroying turrets on his own.
Yep. Yeah, but then he's a bully when it comes to team fights as well, because he's very fast because of his passive, and he probably is gonna be using Ghost, maybe. Could be like a Ghost teleport. It could be Flash as well, but you got some options, so you can do a lot of things. And the same goes with the proxy laning. It's very annoying to deal with.
It depends on what sort of time in the game the Singed is looking to proxy farm, because when he gets a couple of items, I know they're running him a little bit more AP minded now. But still, he's so fast, right? He's like the Fast and the Furious incorporated in an actual champion that doesn't suck like the movies. And then then there you go. If you can get to proxy farm, you can't really kill him with an Ornn, right? So
you're not into ladies and cars?
Well, I'd like a little sustenance in there. Well, not sustenance, but you know, a little bit of actual storytelling instead of just the cars and just the lady. I mean, I like him. It's not that
Maybe I can use your analogy to explain what you should do with the Singed then.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think that getting Singed killed is not a car chase situation. You don't chase him down with your police car.
No.
You don't go after that guy.
No.
You die.
Yeah.
So what you do is you get some kind of way to stop him. Maybe you put out some spikes in the ground, stun him up,
Kill his friends.
and then kill his friends.
Yeah,
maybe?
just
Yeah,
focus
that
on his
could be,
friends, right?
yeah.
You know, really brutal here. So what you're saying, so what I'm hearing you say here is that you just go for his family, leave him alone.
Lock him up. Put
him in jail.
Throw away the key.
That's gonna be the pillar from Trundle,
yeah,
I
sure.
suppose.
All right,
That could be the building.
Exciting stuff, boys. Now we've got the full rosters locked in here, and I would like for you guys again to choose either which one of the lineups you want to go over and talk about the win conditions. Justy, you could, I don't know, talk about Supernova or Good Game eSports
Sure.
for all I care.
I would. I don't mind taking Supernova. Like you have the Ornn as well. Forge God Ultimate has a big impact when it comes to team fights, and the Trundle and the Corki as well. Trundle is very solid and a good pick in this meta.
yeah.
And it's been a favorite pick for a decent amount of time for now.
Definitely.
And the same goes with the Corki as well, with the Valkyrie and the package and the roaming opportunities you got while having the package on is gonna be. I think that's gonna have a big influence, because he's gonna have a hard time against the Orianna. But I would favor it to Vivi on the Corki.
It's going to be exciting to see in certain in that matchup. I'd say both matchups are sort of defensive in a way. It's very farm heavy. They can both farm pretty safely on these two control mages. But as an overall win conditions for the Supernova lineup, I'm hearing that they have to make the package count, right?
Oh yeah. But the same goes for, let's take the scenario that Orianna gets out of the lane first. The package can allow him to be a bit further behind and still be able to catch up because of the movement speed you get when you pop it. So I think the Corki pick is favored in this scenario when we talk about the roaming options, unless we are talking about, let's say that the Orianna starts to build up, let's say 2, maybe 2.5 wave and clash it. That's going to take some time to clear out. That could be the potential case in this scenario.
Yeah, indeed. And just before we move over to the Good Game Esports thing, I want to touch on one last thing here with the Supernova lineup. The thing with Corki, right, and the fact that they have triple teleport in this game means that they can fluctuate between the team fight composition where they go for a 4-1. Unnecessary, my bad. But they're going to go for a 4-1. They're going to go for the team fights. But if they want, they can just spread out the map, farm across all lanes with a 1-3-1, and the Corki can join really, really fast if he has the package in that instance. But let's talk no further. Let's move on to the Good Game Esports lineup here.
Well,
Stefan Storm.
Guys, I can't help myself.
Okay.
This lineup.
Is it another
this lineup is just too fast. It's too furious.
Oh my God.
This lineup is just gonna go out in laning phase. Just try and play the laning phase out. They have pretty good matchup. They've made sure that they can do things in all the lanes.
Yeah.
Just like last game. And then in team fights, they're gonna rush down the opponent.
Yeah.
They're gonna run at them with Singed. They're gonna speed him up with Orianna. Camille is gonna use her Hextech ultimatum and her hook charge. Ezreal is there somewhere in the backline, I assume. And then
He's there.
Grisen is always finding a way in. That's
Always.
for sure. So they are really the engaged comp in this situation, I think.
Yeah, and specifically, if you look at the two players combined, they have really good synergy. Grisen and Seaboy, they are on Alistar and they are on Camille. Whichever lane they choose to roam into, which I assume we're going to see a lot of in this game, they're just going to have kill pressure. Immense amount of kill pressure in this game. The grappling hook or whatever it's called from a Camille there has a huge amount of gap closer, and if you can follow that up with a little bit more slow cow there, then you are almost certain, slow motion cow coming in there, almost certain to get, let's say, a first blood or the follow-up kills in this game. But let me hear your thoughts, guys, and let me hear your thoughts out in the chat. Who do you think are going to come out in this Battle of Titans in the second game between Supernova Esports and Good Game Esports? First bloods, boys.
First blood. That's pretty tough because the bot lane could be even, but if Alistar or Grisen decides to roam, Ezreal could potentially die easy. I'm going to go for top lane. I'm going to say first blood is going to go to Seaboy in the top lane.
I feel like if we go back to the point we touched on earlier, that you guys thought it was going to be a 3-2, and I thought it was going to be 3-1, right? Yeah. Then I think this is the game that Supernova gets.
The first.
In my opinion. This is the game they get, and maybe they get another. That's up to you guys. But anyways, we're kind of getting into game.
We're getting into game. We're loading up on the Rift here, and some of the actual tools we see on those teams are going to make for an interesting matchup. A little bit less interesting when it comes to oddball picks, but that might just give us a way, way closer game. So I can kind of agree to the point you're making here that this might be Supernova's chance. And we get a pause.
May I point something out? You say that this is the game that Supernova is going to win.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, you're going to be like Camille against Kai'Sa. You're going to be like the engaged from the Singed. And you're hyping Grisen's engaged option so that he's always going to be there. But you're still saying that Supernova is going to win this game. Why?
Because I still see this as a bigger opportunity for the Supernova lineup to actually maybe get out under the bus.
Okay.
If I should use a really grim analogy. This is their chance to get back in the game, and if they don't get the momentum here, it might get to their heads that they are losing 3-0, and that could potentially ruin the third game. So I think that bouncing back in this game is not only a chance, but also really important for the Supernova lineup. So I hope that they go out with a clear head they go to the gaming setup and they really hammer it out because they need to win this one. I think.
I agree. A reverse sweep, mentally, it's gonna be heavy, and the chances are not very high.
Well, then again, I would have to make the argument that Good Game Esports are the clear favorites for this particular game. It is the first place team through the regular season playing against the fourth place team. They just barely, through a lot of technicalities, got through to the fourth place here. So they're just, I think they're happy to be here, and right now is the time to strike. I agree with you on that, Stefan.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they don't do it here, my point is, they can play more freely, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing to lose. You're playing against the first place team. Whatever. Let's try to throw some oddball
And,
picks.
and let's remember they actually played against one of the other teams that are in our other semifinal last week, and they put up a really strong performance. They went 2-0 against Singularity, which is a really strong team. So Supernova has it in them to pull out these victories.
Yeah.
And this is, for me, a more even matchup due to the laning phase that I saw in the first game. It was a more a flip a coin matchup. But this is like, for me at least, tier 1 champions going up against each other, and that means that it could go both ways, in my opinion.
The same as you point out as well when it comes to the Singularity team and the Supernova matchup, right? Supernova went 2-0, but let's take the scenario that Singularity won. Singularity would have been the first team because they're on 26 points at this point, or in this table. So if Singularity won, they would have been above Good Game Esports.
Exactly.
So they, in some sort of a way, if I may put it, they actually did win over the number 1 team at that point. So, and they're only like 1 game in between when it comes to points. So they should have a decent chance to winning this as well.
I agree. If you just compare the players to one another, the clear experience favor is Good Game Esports in this one.
Yeah.
But I agree with your analogy there, and with the points that we've looked at and their win over Singularity, who was a contender for this top 1 place. So yeah, we shouldn't write Supernova off yet, certainly. And I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen in this game. We haven't gotten an update on what the pause is exactly, but
Ping issues.
Ping issues. Brilliant. That is such a nice thing to hear, because you really don't know what the expectancy is of that sort of thing.
And we might get a reconnect in shortly, so we should get back to game very shortly and momentarily. I think that we've talked a lot about this game, how it potentially could go, and I just hope for both my sake and yours that it goes the way we predict, because otherwise I think you're in a pretty bad situation with this guessing game already.
No. Because if we went 3-2, they need to win at least 2 maps.
Oh.
So if they win this, they need to win 1 more. So you'll maybe get your predictions closer. But if they win 1 more, you're out.
Well, lest we forget, we have 3 more best of 5s coming up during one of them today, and tomorrow we have the 3rd, 4th place deciding match, and of course the grand final. So we still have the time to, pick up on some of those points. You might get the best of us in this game here, but
to be honest, so far we're all even, right? We all guessed 1 game at least for a Good Game Esports. So. The players here trying to figure out when we get to start the game. Hopefully that would
solve
be
it all
really
up.
soon.
Yeah, it seems like it's the support from Supernova who is trying to reconnect. Jebhau here, he's trying to reconnect up to the Discord server. But let's talk a little bit more about the matchups specifically. We can start with the jungle matchups. It seems to me that, okay, actually we get into the game, but still I want you to touch on the jungle matchups, because Camille seems like a champion that falls off a little bit later in the jungle matchup, and jungle might have the edge in this one.
Because we saw Sibo and Talia first game. That's pretty new, because they removed a lot of stuff on her so that she's having, or I would actually say not even present in the lane. They removed the splash and other stuff, like she's not that strong in lane. But Camille as well has been normally in the top lane.
Ooh, we have a 5-man
engage
invading squad.
here from Jebhau. He actually gets the knock up. Priscon in trouble, flashes over the wall, and he gets out. But this is flashed down already from the mid laner of this Supernova lineup. GG eSport lineup early on in the game, just 1 minute into the game. This is good news if you want to gank the mid lane.
Indeed, might be a place to start looking for Don't Ban Nita in this jungle route he's going to take. Right now they're contesting each other a little bit for the early game vision to be able to track where these junglers are going to start their paths. Camille seems to be starting on the blue side, and it might seem to be that Don't Ban Nita and his trundle will be starting on the blue side as well. So they're going to be pathing on the opposite directions of one another.
One thing that I wanted to say before was that Good Game Esports has been flex taking an insane amount. We saw the first draft. Now we got the second draft. Company. Company.
This is
How you doing?
This is the moment in the game, if you play Singed, that you really spam your laugh. This is the point where you can really start to dominate your opponent. Look at this damage he's putting down. He's really getting into characters, this Singed, laying down the poison trail and really having fun in League of Legends. Double knock-up Pulverize. Yabahol with his own right afterwards to save his AD carry's life, but they're both down to under half health, and that means that Flash is off of Drake's now as well as the mid laner on the opposing side.
Yeah, but look at Good Game Esports. We have burned flashes across the board.
Over.
Orianna has burned her flash. C-Boy on her Camille, or his Camille has burned her flash. Both AD carry and support have burned their flash, and that's going to reduce the ability to roam and actually execute on these things that Good Game Esports do in the early game normally.
That could be expensive.
Ooh, Don't Ban Nita finding Finn here in the jungle.
Oh,
Or is it the other way around? Hooks almost finding the target. C-Boy with the prediction play, but Don't Ban Nita just out of range and gets out. Telvi now in problems, and he gets to flash over the wall. Fika gets pulverized. Not under his own turret. He can't really find his way there. He gets to run away with a little bit of movement speed health, but it is close all around the map in the moment.
Burn all the flashes! That's what they're saying on both sides right now. We have flashes down on both junglers. We have flashes down on both AD carries, and it's
You only need summoner spells.
Yeah, you don't need summoner spells,
No.
clearly.
No.
Clearly. Very, very much action here in the beginning of this game, and we're only 3 minutes in, and there's been forced flashes everywhere, but not yet any.
Oh, another gank top lane.
Is it going to be a
they
dive?
find the stun? They do. Fling backwards. Telvi in trouble. Gets really low, but the shield is there to save him as well. They are really ringing in for fight 2 here in this arena, and they are all out of flashes, all out of summoner spells, and fighting a fair fight all around the map. This is exciting stuff in the early game.
They're really trying to abuse the Camille engage. And C-Boy is doing an amazing work.
Yeah, but if you look at what C-Boy has done, it has reduced his optimal jungle pathing, and Don't Ban Nita has actually been punishing heavily. He is approximately 400 gold ahead of... Okay, they're evening it up a little bit now, but he's then, I presume, a couple hundred gold above C-Boy here because he has been so offensive in his gank patterns in this early game. And I would like to diverge your attention down to the bottom side, or the bottom side river. We have an Infernal Drake spawned for the first dragon in this game.
That's going to be amazing because that's going to be worth fighting for. Definitely. But as you see it here, we see the TP coming in from Israel in the bot lane now. So if he's being forced back, that could potentially be an opening for Supernova to get the dragon.
Oh, and isn't this just annoying? See how the Singe just runs into the minion wave and slightly runs out just casually, and then they're all dead.
And just to the unsuspecting eye, you might even think that Singed is the one with the low health and in trouble, but as we all know...
He might be now, though.
He might be a little too low. Yeah, Flash is out, actually. And just as... that might even be the caster curse, but most of the time these Singed players get really low, and they just regen all the life back during the laning phase.
Yeah, it's because of the Dark Seal and the Corrupted Potion, or Refillable Potion, or whatever you want to use. And if you get 2 of these, like the effect of the healing on the Dark Shield is stacking. So you get an amazing amount of heal back.
Yeah, he's able to sustain himself very well in this lane. That's what he's done. He's ahead by 10 CS. He gets the first recall in right now because he's pressured Telvi up under his own turret. But That means he can even it up a little bit on the Ornn here. I assume that Singe is picked specifically as a counter pick for Ornn in this current matchup here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we didn't really touch much on it, but what do you guys think about the late game if we get to that point? Because so far these teams have matched up pretty evenly in the laning phase. And at some point you might think that one of the teams is going to pull ahead of the other. And which team is likely going to do that?
I think like team fight wise, I would say Supernova is having a pretty good composition, but I would only say that Good Game Esports is going to take it away if they abuse the fact that they got the Camille Hextech ultimatum to do some lockdowns around the map to then secure some kills, get a gold lead, get some more items.
Test here for the Scuttler.
Small engage here from C-Boy. He has friends with him. Gets the stun down on Dombanita. He's
double
running out.
left.
Flink gets the first blood. And that's over to Priskone, who gets off to a flying start. Great stuff here from this GG lineup. Once again, off with the first blood in the second game.
Exactly, and he sacrifices himself to actually get the last hit on this Scuttler here. So he gets the vision. Actually, I don't think he got it. Doesn't seem that way. I see blue. Oh, yeah, blue is Supernova. That's my bad. I had it switched around in my head. So he does get the Scuttler, but he pays for it with his life here. If you pay attention to the vision, I would like you to divert your attention to the pink words placed by Good Game Esports and notice how much of the map is actually glowing up in the color red.
Very. Like, when you see it on the blue buff, though, they protect their own blue, but that's because Don't Bandita was already in there and taking the red buff. And if C-Boy starts as he keeps doing, putting pressure in the lanes, keep ganking, they need to know what Don't Bandita is doing. Because he was punishing him early by taking his red. And if he wants to do that again, C-Boy needs to know that.
And I really enjoyed this approach from the GG lineup going into the topside jungle of the enemy team. Because doing all these ganks, they didn't really get the kills. They got a lot of summoner spells, sure. Maybe they might even get something here.
Marvelous.
No, that doesn't look like a real fight to me. Priskone with a little bit of damage, but back to my point. This GG lineup is trying new things because their ganks didn't really pan out. And that means that getting the control of the enemy jungle doesn't only shut down this Don't Bandita farming, which has been great in this game, but also gets them priority in maybe even proxy farming with the Singe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, and just if you look at the vision in its entirety, Supernova are way behind when it comes to having pink wards placed on the map. This means that Good Game Esports, they're able to play a lot. They can play freer, really. They have the overview of the situation. They have the overview of the minimap, and that way they don't have to feel pressured when they get pressured in a turret. There's no threat here of a tower dive because they already have the vision all the way from the mid lane down to the bottom lane, and they are really, really well guarded against this quirky package that might come up soon. Something
that I want to mention as well is that Priskone on Orianna utilizes his ball very well. We saw it very quickly on the bagging Vivi. He decides to use his TP, which makes sense, and that's my point. He's using the ball to do a lot of damage to the waves to make sure that it just keeps shoving in under the turret to punish him. So, and that's gonna buy him some time to go back as well, refill, buy stuff, and come back. So he's utilizing his options.
Meanwhile, here we see Vivifica on our screen, actually trying to move down towards bottom, gets caught out by a pink ward, a sweeper ward, and then has to back to his newly fresh spawned minion wave in the mid lane. Ooh, Call of the Force got used here in the top lane, gets the knock up. Telvi has help from Don't Bandita, double flash used here, and a nice pillar from Don't Bandita. Do they get the kill? He's very low, and he actually picks it up. Don't Bandita with the last jump down, gets the kill in top lane, and it's 1-1.
Oh, Vivifica is looking to kill his second pink ward here. Very nicely played by, Yevahol is on adventure here, and he finds two people.
He
Not
finds
sure
a pulverize, small knockback, but his own ultimate and a nicely placed little plant gets him away from trouble. Small major missteps maybe getting into that zone of the map.
I don't see what the plan was there. He must have assumed that they were already recalled and wanted off the ward, but seems like too risky of a business to be getting into at this stage in the game. They do, however, even up the game, Supernova Esports, and now, because of the counter jungling, I would say, from Don't Bandita, they're actually almost 1,000 gold ahead, and that's just from farm purely.
Mm-hmm. He's doing amazing. He's doing really good.
And you see it on the minion score as well right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly the same scenario as the last game. Maybe not as bad for Supernova, but a lot of these players from GG eSport is currently holding up a nice CS lead. And it's only Don't Bandita who is farming up a ton in the jungle, as well as he did last game.
Being a bully.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, really being a bully, yeah.
To the minion camps, at least.
Yeah.
If you look a little bit at the eye... Oh!
Waiting with the Arcane Shift.
Really, really nice play from Achu, getting the notion out of Jeppe Hov before he uses his
and
Arcane
meanwhile,
Shift.
as we look to the directed camera, we actually see the Infernal Drake going down in advantage of Supernova eSports. So they're doing a little bit to Good Game eSports what they did to them in the first game. They get to have the cake and eat it too. Not as extreme as the first game, but the Infernal Drake is something that's going to scale really nicely into the late game here.
Oh yeah, it's gonna like amplify, and Drake's is gonna enjoy that extra damage, and especially if there's more of them. Like if they keep coming, his burst is gonna be amazing.
And this is definitely a slower game than the game we had before, where we saw a lot of kills in the early minutes. And this just means that the game might drag out a little longer before we get to the point where the teams go for turrets. And right now, all the lanes seem to just want to farm up to a point where they get maybe 2 items. Or 1.5 maybe.
It's gonna be an engage here.
Yeah, and it seems like the early game pressure they applied it this game as well, Good Game eSports, but it didn't work out for them this game, so they just, they step back, they farm up instead, and they're going to play for the late game. You touched a little bit on it, Storm. Who would win in the late game, hypothetically, as we see the Rift Herald is being summoned in the mid lane, so I might just wait with my point here and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely coming in towards the mid lane, charging up, getting ready, and then slamming into the turret. Slamming into Don't Bandita is Seaboy at the moment. Pulverize headbutt combo, and then Grisen and Priscon can pick up another kill. That's a great little pickup they can get from getting a turret for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, very easy kill, and they move directly towards the top lane immediately after this play, because they're 3 and they look towards this juicy Ornn in the top lane and might think to tower dive as well. It seems that way, certainly.
I don't know how a goat is gonna taste. Even as some sort of a blacksmith
You
goat.
might get to find out here. Grisen is looking for the goat in the top lane, gets the combo off, finds Telvi, he's locked up, gets stunned one more time, Ignite is burning on him, and then he gets picked off by Priscorner. They get to eat their cake and have it too.
Yeah. No, I get your point there, and what we see or lack of from Supernova here, they don't respond well to the pressure that they apply from Good Game eSports. Don't Bandita, he goes out and stirs up a nice slice of cake for a Good Game eSports. Here's a nice piece of cake. I can't really do anything to you, but come ahead, kill me. And afterwards,
who doesn't like cake?
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't like cake?
Yeah.
And Telvik as well. He does it right after. They must be aware that they're moving towards the top lane immediately after that easy kill, extra pressure, and a turret. But no, they don't. And what they get as a sort of consolation prize here, Supernova, is this bot lane turret. But now it is a 3-1 score to Good Game eSports, and they are ahead by approximately 1,000 gold as well.
I'm kind of curious here to see as well when we look at something like Don't Bandita, when we look at the gold difference. It's not going to be a whole lot when you look at it, but he's been stealing so many buffs from Seaboy now. Like, is it going to be the third? It's going to be like, what, 2 blues and a red for now? He's very proactive as well. Like, punishing where he's able to punish.
And that's always been sort of his style, I would say, as a jungler. He's very good at counter ganking, but he's just sometimes retarded is the wrong word, right? But it's sort of along the lines of that, because the way he died just before gives the other team so much pressure.
Look at this, Fin finding his target, going for Telvi one more time, getting the backup, getting the knock-up. This is Telvi getting in trouble in the top lane. Hextime ultimatum wasn't really enough, but this fling sure is. Seaboy gets the kill, and they get a nice pickup in the top lane.
Get back in here. Yeah. Where are you going? Flicked.
Nowhere, obviously. They make sure of that in the Fast and the Furious Singe. Oh, Don't Bandita has looked.
Yeah, he's looking for his own gank down bot lane. That sure is a bit of a harder target to really lock down, and with a pillar, that's not quite enough. So
yeah, but what is Don't Bandita doing here? He's not a split pusher, right? No. He should be the one being able to back up his top lane.
Oh yeah, but Ho in trouble now, gets knocked up, gets to flash out. Not even flash out, he has lots of jumps in his kit, and gets to almost walk out entirely from this top lane and support from the other side, but it's getting kind of dicey now being on this Supernova team.
Yeah, certainly. They don't have any respect for the macro aspects of the game, I'd say. There's no vision for them. They push up really far. They don't respect the actual rotations. It seems like the communication is not there to just communicate that people are actually rotating. That's what they're good at. That's what good game esports are good at. If you get to rotate freely and nobody calls it out, well, they're going to execute right the fudge away, right?
Oh,
And that's what
We saw that in the first game as well. Like, they just keep going. It's full throttle all the time, and they just keep going. Like you said here, when they got the mid lane turret, they got the kill with the Herald, they rotated top instantly, and they got it again.
And this is kind of a testament to how well they play this macro game, GG Esports, because when they get one turret in the mid lane, as we saw them do with the Rift Herald, they not only get the kill, but they also immediately rotate top and get another turret, because otherwise they would have just went 1-for-1 in turrets with the bot lane turret going down in the hands of Drakes. But they really find these small situations where they can get ahead, and that's what like gives them this gold lead that they have in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
And if we divert our attention to the pink wards and the ward placement in general right now, I would like to just sit back and enjoy and see what they're actually doing with their vision here from Good Game Esports side.
If they're really trying to extend it. They really want to get some more knowledge.
They just placed that pink ward, right?
Yeah.
They just placed that pink ward, and Good Game Esports, they're there to punish as a team, as a unit every single time.
Oh, and they find Don't Ban a Hextech ultimatum, Arcane Barrage, a 2 with the kill, and I don't think he's walking home from that one. Selby down here, maybe in trouble as well. He's finding a fight with Singed. It is Singed that has
Brilliant duel. Just a brilliant duel.
Yeah, just look at this
Singed.
movement speed as well. Lots of damage, and he calls down his friends, and it's deja vu for this Telvi on.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of...
Oh, big plays from Achu, finding yet another kill in the
God
river
bless
this
you.
time. And thank you very much. This is it's hard being a play-by-play when they when they keep finding these plays, and I just have to sneeze all the time. I don't know how.
God
How
bless
that
you.
is
Get
happening.
snuck up in there every time. All right, so as of this moment, it's 1-8 for the Good Game Esports lineup, and it's been snowballing towards their side of the map ever so slightly from that Rift Herald play. And Supernova, they've just been abysmal in the way they've been answering here. They don't have the respect for the fact that the opponent, they're ahead, right? You don't place the vision defensively enough so you can actually defend it as a unit, whereas Good Game Esports on the opposing side, they go in as a team for the single pink ward. They move their vision forward as a team, and because of that, they're able to pressure even further forward every single time. They dot their I's and everything before they get into the territory of the enemy.
Yeah, it's a unit. They move as one big unit.
And now we've just gotten to the point where they're doing kind of their thing, because getting ahead and then staying ahead has kind of been the way that they've won most of their games this season. And challenging this lead that they've accumulated over the game is going to be the challenge for Supernova. Otherwise, this GG lineup is just going to take away another game and go 2-0. So it's going to be difficult, but they do still have a chance, Supernova. They scale quite well into the late game. And Achu is really strong right now with his Trinity Force and his second item, but it's not going to last forever, this damage.
Oh, no. I'm kind of excited to see how they want to abuse the... I don't know if it's Achu or Akyu. I'm not entirely sure. But
Achu, I think.
yeah, Achu, yeah. Because you mentioned it in the draft as well. They have a lot of engaged, like they have the Hextech Ultimatum, they have the Oriana Shockwave, and you got the Alistar combo, and they got the Israel for poke. Like, I sort of get the point if they want to try poke him down and then do the engage to make sure that the fight goes the way that they want it, but...
Well, I don't think, honestly, they chose this Ezreal for the poke. They chose him to be a carry as well, and that's why they built the Trinity Force and not like a...
Iceborne Gauntlet, Frozen Fist,
or something. We might see another fight turning up here down towards the bottom side jungle. Lots of people looking for a kill. They find the Hextech ultimation onto Drakes. He is caught and he is killed. Priscorn gets another kill, 4-0-4. And then a double knock up here under the turret. Grisen in problem. Oh, double shockwave as well. And then they need to flash out. They get all the way out. But this Singed is just going for the cleanup. Gets one kill. Almost got Telvi as well. And then it's 10-2 after this extremely difficult fight from GG.
Feels bad, man, when Singed comes into the picture, all CDs are down, everybody be like, hey, I got miners up all the time. Here I'm coming.
Yeah, it looks really harmless when he goes in afterwards to clean it up, and it turns out really well for Good Game Esports, even though they get a kill on the backhand off of it, Supernova. But that's really all of it, and it's always Good Game Esports looking for these opportunities. It's always them being proactive with their tools as a unit, because you can't play. Ooh, don't ban Nita on the jungle.
Yeah, but look at this. What did they get this time? They got some kills, sure. They got some vision control, sure, but that can be taken away as well.
Yeah, it can.
They didn't get any turrets, they didn't get any objectives, and that means that they essentially got to extend their own clock.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to, because they can't match it at this point in the game. And the further in Good Game Esports keeps pushing, the less and less control they have on the Baron pit, for example. And we're 21 minutes into the game.
We need to remember that 21 minutes into the game isn't actually much, but it is the period in the game we used to call mid-game maybe. And in this point of the game, that's where this lineup from GG Esports really shines, and where they need to pick up objectives off of nearly every fight they get.
Exactly.
And maybe they'll get the objectives in the next fight. That's definitely how it went the last game.
Yeah.
And if we look at Supernova, this is actually the first time around that they have more vision. I'm about to be corrected here in a moment, but they have more vision than Good Game Esports. Hey, it's a pink word!
Woo!
And, well...
Get rich or die trying.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's a meme we should start as casters. That would be pretty annoying pretty fast, I think.
It might become a nuisance.
But they are setting us up for it.
Oh, yeah, they are. But as I said, the Baron control, and it's going to be here now. Because they want to make sure that Supernova is never going to get a chance to get in there if they want to start it.
No, and they keep pathing back and forth in their own jungle, Supernova, and then answering the wave in the mid lane. But they never seem to try up. They don't start the Baron quite yet. They don't ever seem to try to stand still for a moment as a unit and try to look for a trap, because inevitably, Good Game Esports, they're going to look to place vision in that side of the jungle, in their top side jungle, their blue side jungle for Supernova. And if they have to go get that, well, you can just stand there waiting, turn it around, get a fight on the surprise, and then maybe you can turn that into a Baron, but not what seems likely right now, because Good Game Esports are just...
And
they want to go for it.
As they start the Baron, they do have the TP advantage in bot lane. This Ornn is not going to join the fight. The only chance for him is to stop Singed teleporting in, and that means that we need to see if this top laner, Fin gets to join the fight. If this fight breaks out, it looks like it on the minimap, and they are on half health of the Baron, gets to engage on Don't Ban Nita, who is locked up in the Hex Tech ultimatum. He's not really popped yet. This is Priscon going low. Figure gets to trade off. Grisen gets the kill. Drake's really low. Seaboy gets ignited. Jeppe gets to flash out. And he dies as well to a Chew. Seaboy, do you live? You do! You get away with the shield in the last second. And Grisen is laughing at their pain. This was a great fight in the end for GG, but one that could have gone the other way.
Did you notice Roll Swapper's chase? Or Telvik's chase to Roll Swapper? He was trying desperately to get that TP in, and he was not being allowed to. You keep seeing the pings on the minimap. Boing, boing, boing,
they're just running down there for an extended marathon in the bottom lane here, but not enough for Supernova. They get a fight that seems to be close, but they're 6,000 gold behind, and now they start the Baron for Good Game Esports. I do think this might just go down without... Ooh, or maybe
they don't really have the damage at the moment. And look at this. This is Supernova closing in on their location. They have to back off, and the Baron is started but stopped once again.
Want to see now? They want to see if they can take more and more control now. See if they can sort of turn the tides, so to speak, in the Baron pit. Because if Supernova can achieve this Baron buff, that could be a turnaround.
Yeah, but they have to think up some tools to actually get some sort of thing out of this, because they're 8,000 gold behind. They're not looking proactively towards anything. The closest thing they've looked proactively was a contestation of a Baron fight. Yep. That's as close as you get before you have to do something. Just, start using the pink wards. They have so great vision. They have excellent vision around the Baron pit right now. They're not going to use it. Nobody's there. They're pathing down in the red side jungle for what?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Contest a dragon? What is it? What sort of dragon is it?
A cloud.
It's a cloud dragon.
Yeah.
Who gives that fudge? I'm sorry. But at this point in the game, they're going to have...
Sinch wants it. Oh yeah, he does, because it's out of combat movement speed, but in combat as well. So Sinch would love it. He's just going to be way more annoying than he's already is.
Yeah, but it's not going to be relevant. It's not
no,
enough
no.
of an objective for
No.
Supernova to contest it.
No.
Now they get the vision in the bottom side. That's fine.
Yep.
We don't want to. There's no objective.
Oh, Priscorner might be in trouble here.
Oh!
Closed off by himself, gets killed by 3 man. He was really in a bad position. But this means that they do get a turret down bot side. This GG lineup is currently 4 against 5, but they are finding
Nice flash.
perhaps a pick on this Telvi. He gets out. They can't really close.
Oh, and look
the
at what
distance.
Supernova are doing now. They're pinging the Baron. This is a base race versus the Baron situation between these two teams right now.
Oh, this is a really good race we have got going on at the moment. 4 people off this GG lineup is closing
They
in
get
on
it.
the Nexus turret. They do get the Baron. That means they get empowered recalls. They get back real quick. Nexus turret goes down. They need to get out now, GG. The Supernova lineup is really coming for them. 5 man chasing down. They
Flash.
get kill onto Seaboy. They get one of them. And now they can chase out of their own base and in towards the objectives of the GG lineup.
So what they do here, Supernova, they ping immediately to go for the Baron after they get the pick. They don't want the fight on the bot side. Maybe they should have gone for it. They could have gotten a 5 versus 4 without some cooldowns, I might add. But they don't. They choose to...
Oh, now we see another situation happening bot side. This is Telvi once again
Without
being
flash.
found without flash in the bot side, in trouble against 3 people.
Not ideal when you look to use this Baron you've just gotten off of the, well, clutches of Good Game Esports. And what I was saying now is this is an excellent tool to stall out the game, get some farm, apply some pressure, maybe get some turrets if your macro is solid enough. But right now, they're still 8,000 gold behind. It doesn't look good for Supernova, and it all depends on how they use this Baron, in my opinion.
I totally agree. Like, this Baron is going to have, if they use it correctly, have a big impact. Because they sacrificed the inhib for the Baron buff.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good decision, because I don't think that they would be able to match him in a full fight. Not in that scenario, even though Priscorn was dead. I think it would have been sort of a messy fight, but I don't think it would end out in anything good from neither sides. So getting the Baron is a good thing. They got the turret now, top lane, the first tier 1 top. So yeah, I think it was a correct and a good decision from Supernova to do that. But they just have to stall it now.
It was the decision they made, so they have to stick to whatever they can get out of the
Indeed.
situation. And they get the quick recalls. They get to move around the map a little bit faster than the other team. And I think that's solid.
Oh, a little Call of the Forge Guard action here, maybe.
Triple.
Getting a knock-up on 3 people. This is Jeppe Hall getting caught out, but the Hextech ultimatum on the side, though.
Is he gonna get
He
in?
is in trouble, falls as the first victim of this major team fight. 2 boys down now, 3. And this is a fight extended towards their own base. Supernova going down, double kill to Priscorner. He looks for more as Fin is leading the charge here on this
Here,
sense.
yes.
Lots of damage on
Oh!
Fin. He gets a triple kill as well, handing it over. Fin is leading the charge. I'll say it as many times as I can. This Singe is really on a rampage at the moment. And now they're looking towards the Nexus turret. They're looking towards the base.
4 people dead from Supernova. I do think this spells the end for the second game. 7-18 in kill score and approximately 9,000 gold in the lead for Good Game Esports. It's not relevant now because they're knocking on the Nexus turrets. They're knocking them down, and this Singe gets the actual last hit for this game. And what we see
Plus
here...
50.
Yeah.
You might want to change his name instead of being Wolfswabber, call himself DK. Drift King.
Drift King.
Yeah.
Well, he certainly ran a lot of miles in this game, and this Singed pick for Good Game Esports was certainly one of the more efficient things that they
Entertaining, I would put it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just running around, really, but it can be entertaining to just, have a calm and relaxed champion, just strolling about and getting his kills. 4-1-7 or 5-1-7, I believe he ended on in this one. So definitely really strong showing from Roll Swapper here. And this means that we're on a 2-0 in favor of Good Game Esports, which means that in actual convincing fashion that they're looking to close it out with 3-0.
And this was the exact thing I was talking about as we started the game. This is the situation that Supernova do not want to fight themselves in. This is a situation where they are standing up against a brick wall. They have to win 3 games in a row. That can really crush your momentum. But if they turn it around, and as you said, look at it as just any game, and what do we have to lose? then they could potentially turn it around.
The way I see it, it's basically an open door for them. They can choose which sort of perception they want on this game and play with a bit of freedom. It is a superior team from the looks of it in Good Game Esports right now. The macro tendencies from Supernova haven't been really good, or at least they realize it too late in the games. So now, maybe try to apply the pressure instead. Try to be the one coming out of the gate really strong. Try this level 2 gank like C-Boy did in this game, and maybe, just maybe, Supernova can make some sort of an upset statement in the last part of this best of 5. But for now, boys and girls, we're gonna look to get a pause going. That means we'll be back at approximately 5:10, so that's in approximately 5 minutes, and hopefully we'll see you there for maybe the deciding match of this best of 5 series. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting into the later stages of our current semi-final between Good Game Esports and Supernova Esports, and things are looking dire for Supernova Esports. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 2-0. We're very aware. Seemingly, I'd say that that this looks to be in the control of. Sorry, I just have to connect us to the lobby here, so I'm just gonna get in front here. But it seems like the favorites, Good Game Esports, are delivering on their actual prowess in this game, and it might just look to be a clean 3-0 right now.
Yeah, their score from the season and their dominant performance throughout all the games in the 14 weeks they've played so far is really showing in this series, in this semi-final series. Series, and in not only a series of best of 5, but in a series that determines if they get to go to the finals and potentially win a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Like I think the 2 first games we've seen so far has been like a battle in a draft phase.
Yeah.
Like and I think like I really want to point out how Good Game Esports is flexing in the draft, because they have like they're both flexing with the muscles, but also with the flex picks.
Yeah.
Because Camille, it was pretty obvious to see that they sort of expected that Camille might have been in top lane. But then it turns out that she was in the jungle, which we have seen a lot of in the solo queue as well, also when it comes to the Talia. So I was sort of expecting her to be in the jungle, but I was not 100% convinced. So, and they just keep doing that.
And we've seen twice now that this GG lineup really knows how to punish Supernova in the early game. And even though they kind of got two comps that were more or less even in the early game, they really just went like pedal to the metal in the mid game, and just with the mid game team composition, with this Ezreal and with the engage they had, they just pulled out the victory in a short fashion. So this is a GG lineup that Supernova has to go in and fight against, knowing that they can't possibly fight in the early game, or perhaps that they have to change their playstyle to do it.
I would actually say, as a turnaround mechanic for Supernova, they should look to fight in the early game. They should be proactive in their way of playing in the early game, and maybe just, throw up the coin, throw the dice, whatever, and see if you can come out ahead in this early game. C-Boy has been doing it. Don't Bandita can do it as well, but all he's been doing currently is farming, and that's fine. That's okay. He got off 1 positive flank and got off 7. I don't know, just a massive amount of times where he got caught out. And that is a problem for Supernova. They seem to be behind on the macro. They seem to be behind on the vision control. They don't utilize traps. They don't get off the flanks properly. So apply the pressure early and then snowball it from there. That's what I'd say.
I agree. And one thing that came to my mind throughout the second game as well is that Griesen was able to roam. Because, Achu was on an Ezreal. I don't see where Drakes and Yebehao utilized the situation where Israel was alone. Like, they didn't catch him off guard.
Nope.
Not at all. And that made Griesen able to do what he's best at, roaming. Creating pressure in side lanes.
Yeah, and it really seems like Good Game Esport has the number on Supernova, because they didn't care about the Rakan going over to Supernova. They just pick Ezreal into it. They seem very prepared in their pick ban, which we're coming into now. And Yasuo S, 3rd time's the charm, boys. He's being banned again, shoveled out there and over the shoulder. So we're not going to see him in play. And just to touch on it a little bit, it is a favorite pick of Vivifica on Supernova, so that's why it is being banned out.
Yasuo is shining as well in patch 8 or 8.11, because when the new items came into place, he can get quadruple crit chance.
Yeah.
So, and with 15% true damage, you don't want to play against that.
Yep.
That hurts.
Needless to say, there's going to be a lot of special ones in solo queue as of late because of these changes. We don't get to see it in competitive play here because they do respect it too much. And on the back half of this first preliminary ban phase, we do see Kai'Sa being banned from the side of Good Game Esport and Talia once again banned from Supernova.
And I think this is a fine ban away, even if they go for the Ezreal themselves again. They show up that this 80 carry position is one they can handle, and that they can handle Drakes throughout the game. And they kind of tried out both games now with Drakes on Kai'Sa and on Ezreal. And they opt perhaps to try and eliminate both.
Something that actually came to mind, I've been sort of trying to figure out what ADs was good in this current patch. And I've seen Misfortune popping off a lot. And with the new Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon, and Infinity Edge build on her, is gonna give her ultimate critical strike damage, which is normally amplified, which can crit, but that makes the ultimate 15% true damage.
Damn. So that, that is one other tool you can use to really snowball ahead here. And we have seen a lot of interesting things. We haven't touched so much on the item builds because I think for most of the time they've been pretty standard, even with the oddball picks. And wait a minute.
The Anivia.
Woo. Walk, walk. Well, Storm, I'm going to pass it on to you.
I'm just going to say what I always do when I lock in a champion in Champion Select. Thank you, Bird Jesus. This is all I could have wanted, and I'm going to have so much fun casting this game because I just love seeing Anivia in game.
So what do you think about eggnog and omelette? Maybe even nuggets and chicken wings.
I don't know. I'm honestly rooting for 3-0 now, just based on this one pick.
You can't change.
What we're trying to elaborate on here is that Storm himself is a little bit of a an enthusiast when it comes to the.
Yeah, let's use enthusiast.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that word.
When it comes to Anivia, and if you scour through his op.gg, you'll certainly see why. On the other half of this champ select, we do see Trundle being locked in from Supernova. I do not like this. It hasn't worked for them for now. Now they choose to mix it up in the support for the third time. But I do feel another jungler should have been locked in instead of the Trundle. It hasn't paid off.
Misfortune is not going to be an option now.
Well, you can see it from both sides, I think, as well, because it has been one of the picks that they've been doing. Honestly, okay.
Farm-wise,
yeah, like in the early game, he has been doing his thing. He hasn't really been killed much, and he has been like keeping, if not ahead, then at least at even with the other jungler, who has been doing a lot of work with his ganks. So I think that doing the Trundle pick again is okay, because that way you at least get one decent pick for your lineup. But it has to work now. This is the last chance.
Yeah, you're not gonna get to go to the ball pit or whatever. You don't get to swing the bat one more time if you don't swing it right.
You have to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, knock it out of the park. That's the right analogy right there. And then on the other hand, we get to see a third jungle option for Good Game Esports. Skarner, also a more or less oddball pick. I do feel Good Game Esports now, or yes, Anivia is a bit of an oddball pick. We haven't seen her that much, but maybe she's just meta. I think they're hiding their picks now for an eventual final, and they just they keep it pretty standard.
As we may get the illusion here, I just want to point out that this Ezreal pickup could have gone to Drakes, and that is because they chose to go with Illusion instead.
Yeah.
And it's really smart from GG to get in the Ezreal in the first rotation and get away the Kai'Sa. But this Lucian might just be the downfall of this GG lineup, because this is a new hot champion.
With the recent new items and stuff, he's actually able to do full resets all the time and do the full combo non-stop.
Really?
If you do a correct setup of items. I saw a video on it. It's insane.
Well, I would say if that is true, I do believe you. Just the then, well, Drakes is one of these people that I would say is he's doing admirably when he's playing, and giving him sort of a snowbally champion that you need to elaborate on in the early game. I like that from Supernova, and I expect to see more of this coming through in this pick and ban phase right now.
And it's really great together with the always solid Braum.
Yeah.
Like it's a famous composition where you get this concussive blow stack off like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Which is really great for fighting in the bot lane. But it could also go to the mid lane. We don't have to forget. We have to not forget about that. It has been used in the mid lane a lot, but I think it's going to go to Drakes in this scenario.
I hope as well that VBFK is going to get some sort of a wave clear champion.
They should pick a mid laner now, I was about to say.
Exactly.
Because if they do pick a top laner, I simply can't. Okay, it seems like a placeholder is going through again. We saw this in the last game, the previous game, and Amumu in this case was Ornn. He can't possibly be Ornn this game, so yeah.
Yeah, but
it'll be nice to see what shows up here. But I hope it's a mid laner for Supernova. They already know the lane opponent. I don't see Anivia going jungle all of a sudden. You know, no tricks there. But if they do pick a top laner, it just sets Good Game Esports up for a free counter pick, which I do think is just throwing away the pick ban phase right off the bat.
I agree, and they definitely need some sort of a wave clearing mage to respond to Anivia, because if they don't want to use the Lucian ultimate just to wave clear. They need something, like they need to respond.
Well, honestly, the Lucian Ultimate can be used as a wave clear tool if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really necessary.
That's what I mean.
And I don't think it's that big of a hindrance for Lucian to lose his ultimate. He has a lot of damage in his normal kit, and I think in most situations he would actually just prefer just to do his normal kit for the damage anyways. So.
But if you want to match it up, let's say that it start to group, and Nivea's ultimate has like approximately
Cannon!
3 seconds. Ooh, cannon, nice.
This is my absolute favorite champion in the top lane. Yeah, thank you. We both get our favorite champions in a certain lane, and it's just nice to look at. I'm also a fan of the Cillian, but Keenan, or Kennen, whichever way you want to pronounce it out there, it is so nice to see him or her back. I actually don't know. It's really he, right? Yeah, okay, good. And I suspect him to be played AD-wise this game now. It's not likely with his attack speed or attack buff.
So more split push orientated,
but you still have the CC to enable your team through. And Kennen is just... Yeah, it's a squishy person, but you still get the preemptive strike with the ultimate, the maelstrom, the electric maelstrom.
Hamster.
There. Yeah.
And I think it was a Cho'Gath, which was the last pick up as well to round out the comp. Where when we get into the game as well, we will see what they pick up instead of this Amumu, and then we will have our completed lineups. But nice to see fun things from both teams, honestly. In this third game, a game that could potentially be our last if it is GG eSport that gets out the gate swinging again this time around. They've been doing it 2 games straight now, and they've really been showing up today.
I still can't wait to see what champion Vivi is going to get, because I just want to mention one more time, Anivia's ultimate has a 3-second cooldown. If you want to use the Lucian ultimate to clear that once, you don't got it the second time. The wave is going to come at you once more. And if you want to gap close on that and there is a Nivea wall behind you and you use the dash incorrectly, you're screwed.
You are very screwed indeed. And I'd say as we see the pick ban phase unfold, albeit with a little bit more trolly champions being banned right now, certainly not the ones we saw before, I think we'll get to see Supernova trying to apply some pressure on early and see what they can do with this Lucian pick, see if they can enable their arguably best player, Drakes, in this lineup, and that would also befall on the responsibilities of Don't Ban Nida and which way he can sort of circumvent the pathing in the jungle.
I hope to see a rise.
Well, I have to disagree with you a little bit there.
Yeah?
I do think if you go for a low-range mid laner into an Anivia, he might be fine in the early game, but when you get later into the game, who's he going to get close to, right?
Yeah,
you have
that's
to
true.
do it. You have to do it with his realm warp.
But I'm thinking more like, one thing is that the laning phase is going to be mostly safe, but when it comes to the macro play and rotations, Supernova has been behind. The realm warp option would allow you to excel, make it faster, maybe even help if you make a bad decision, you can use it to sort of put something on the wound. But
yeah, catch up. You just look to catch up with the ultimate. You get the rotations in defensively.
Syndra we saw in the mid lane instead.
Interesting.
And this is really interesting. Speaking from experience, I'm not as good as these players, honestly, but I've played a lot of Anivia.
Don't sell yourself short.
Come on. And in a lot of these games, what you can do against Anivia, if you want to play against it, is 2 things. You can either go the route of trying to kill her in the laning phase, which you can do with every champion, or you can go the route of trying to kill her in the late game. But doing that is really difficult, so most people tend to go for her in the laning phase because she has poor wave clear before level 6, and she has a horrendous auto attack animation, which makes her hard to farm on. And then if you try and trade with her, you can honestly sometimes get her. But what you need to understand is that you need to have a champion that can deal a lot of sustained damage against her, because she gets her egg and then she does not die. So this Syndra's pick is, to me, maybe not really the right choice, and that signals to me that they want to like use Syndra to kill some of the other people, and then use her in the late game to kill a potential Ezreal or a Kennen straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then the Cillian comes into play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would have to say that Supernova once again have picked themselves up against the wall, and you touched on the Syndra pick. Exactly with the Cillian, you get to counter whichever target selection you choose from Supernova, and Supernova have to sort of play the fights when they get into the later stages of the game. They have to play it a little bit split. They have to say, okay, we focus this target first. If the Cillian ulti comes out, we change the target immediately and then go for the next one. Maybe hold off on the Syndra ulti, see if you can get a scatter of the weak off and get some target selection through that.
And what target do you go for?
Yeah.
Because if you go for the Cillian, he will always have the ulti for himself, honestly, if it's a really poor situation. The Ezreal is hard to pin down. The Anivia has the egg. Kennen is gonna get the Hourglass pretty early on, I think. Or at least have a stopwatch.
I don't want to use it on Skarner.
Exactly.
No, Skarner's not going to be burst down most likely
So-
as
Exactly.
we get later into the game, yeah.
So it's gonna be this scatter the weak ability on Syndra. That's gonna be the big thing for her, and then trying to lock down the target that gets stunned up. But it's gonna be a tough challenge, and let's see if it pans out in the game. Because I think the later this game goes, the stronger this composition gets installing from this GG lineup. But on the other side, you do still have this Lucian, and I'm really curious to see how effective it is.
Like, I would also say that composition-wise, like, one thing is that they got this Syndra, but I would say, to me, they look stronger.
Well, if we have to go over the win conditions as we have in the previous games for the two separate compositions here, I'll throw my name in the hat for this one, and I'll start. I'll go over Supernova. You get the more flashy one then.
Sure.
What I see here is once again a 4-1 comp from Supernova. They don't have the flexibility to play the 1-3-1 in this game, so they're gonna try to enable these two early game carries, Syndra and Lucian. They look to play for bot lane and mid lane with this Trundle because you can proc the concussive blows from the Braum really easily alongside with the Lucian, and that's what I think they should look towards that in the early game, as well as the Syndra and the Anivia trying to get a kill over there. In the later stages of the game, it gets harder and harder, and they have to peel for Lucian and try to get some good scatter of the weaks off from Syndra while trying to avoid some flanks from the other side of the map. But it's a 4-1. They look for team fights, and if they're good enough, if they get snowballed enough, they can change the selection of targets and thereby bait out the Cillian ulti, in my opinion.
And if they choose to go this route of playing out these team fights, then they will be playing right into the hands of this GG lineup, because that's what they want to do all day, I think. This is a lineup that has all the CC, all the crowd control in the world. They can do whatever they want in a fight. They can even go for just one target, single them out in the laning phase as well, and then pin down a target, kill that, and then do the entire team fight with crowd control, not for one person, but for several persons, with the Kennen ultimate, with the stuns from Anivia, with the Cillian speeding or slowing people up.
Yeah.
Like, they have so many tools to lock people up, and it's going to be great to see if they can utilize that on maybe one target or several.
Yeah, and I do think that their composition is a 4-1 composition as well. But you have more of a tool through the Kennen, because Kennen presumably will be the one having the pressure in the top lane. And if you get the priority, you can roam down and try to get off one of those excellent flanks you can get from a Kennen pick. That is why the champion is so gosh darn good, and that is one of the things that Good Game Esports, in their tendency to play really fast, can utilize and perhaps even just, cement this game with a 3-0. But let's hear what you have to say out there in the chat. We're getting into possibly the match point of this best-of-5 series between Good Game Esports and Supernova. So, throw out your hashtags and, let's get on with what hopefully will be a more exciting game. The two others have been exciting, but Good Game Esports have certainly looked dominant.
And this is, after seeing the picks and bans, going to be a bloodbath in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because these two teams, they are up against each other with comps that have lots of wave clear. They're going to go for picks and kills in the early game, not like we saw in the previous game, but like we saw it in the first game. And they're going to try and see if they can kill the entire team of the opposing players and then get the objectives afterwards.
I completely agree with you there, and as per usual, because we haven't been doing it very well, I think we should try to elaborate on who we think might get the first blood in this battle of titans.
It's gonna be bot lane Drakes.
All right.
I like the confidence.
Yeah, confidence, yeah.
It's the Braum and Lucian combo. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be an evade from Supernova, because they got the Braum, they got the Don't Ban Nita on the with the pillar. I know he's gonna suffer a bit, but I definitely think it's gonna be worth it in the end. So I would say it's gonna be for Drakes. He's gonna get the first blood.
I'm gonna give it to Anivia. I can't help myself. I love that champion. And seeing it paired up with the Skarner, you actually have a lot of kill pressure when you get to double Q, stack your Q, and then do the E as max stat. So like in level 5, you have a lot of damage out of your kit early on, and that way you can kill a squishy target like a Syndra if Skarner gets onto her. But that has to take like a few levels, and we might see a kill before that, but if we don't, I think it's going to be Anivia.
All right, so you're saying bird is the word.
Bird is definitely word.
All right. As to comment on the first blood here, I'm going to go with Kennen as well. I'm going to go with the preferred pick of mine in this best of series here. I'm really excited to see what the Role Swapper can do on this champion, and I'm really excited to see what the new sort of build for a Kennen would look like. I think it will be along the lines of what we've seen before.
I don't know why. I haven't seen Kennen in a long time, but I have an idea that it might be some sort of a hybrid thing. I don't know why I think it, but the Kennen split push is AD based, but you're talking a lot about the momentum that he can create with the Maelstrom if he does the engage and a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So, and if I remember correctly, I saw, the last Kennen I saw used Hextech Gunblade. So could it be some sort of a hybrid?
It could be some sort of a hybrid, and maybe have some sort of a more bursty mechanic.
Exactly.
To it. Yeah, exactly. So you combine the best of both worlds. I do think the attack speed proc has been improved for Role Swapper as he dodges out. Really, really nice ninja mechanics we see here from Role Swapper. Amazing how he's able to pull that
Beautiful
off.
stuff.
Yeah, just beautiful stuff, really. And we're getting a little bit of action here in the early game.
Yeah, like a little trading back and forth here. We see Telvi with a nice rupture actually hitting onto the Kennen. Maybe not as swift as you thought it was, Beldrin, but definitely nice to see some trades in the laning phase, trying to like see if they can get some advantage in the laning phase, get some damage onto your opponent, and then possibly take over in the CS department.
Yeah, that might be the plan here. We're certainly getting on the way with the laning phases. There are bombs and ruptures and whatnot being thrown around. A little bit of a ninja star as well from the Kennen, and I think we're going to have a lot of dueling on our hands here.
I think so as well. And also when you've seen the bot lane from Supernova is being pressured up, it's never easy to a melee matchup against a ranged.
No.
It's going to be hard. And you can see it as well, they're being punished by it, but I do still believe that the first blood is going to be there, and it's going to be for Drakes.
So close.
Because at some point, when they're level 3, maybe even first when they get 6, they will be able to pull the trigger, and they got the tools to do so.
And look at this down bot side. With this Griesen on a Zillion, he is going to be able to put a lot more pressure on the bot line. On the bot lane, he has a lot of damage with the AoE bombs, and as well as this XP he gives over to Achu, which makes him go towards the mid game faster. A place in the game where Ezreal really shines, and where we saw him really pop off in the last game as well.
Yeah, but I agree. And
Indeed.
I also want to see if Griesen actually decides to roam as well, playing Zillion. Because he's been off the charges the last 2 games.
And you can do some really disgusting things with
You
Zillion.
can, exactly.
If you go out towards mid lane and you call in C-Boy for a gank, you can speed him up with the Zillion.
Yeah.
And then
He's
there's
gonna
just no way out of that situation if
no.
you're the enemy mid laner.
and we have
Oh, a
battle
stun here from C-Boy. Role Swapper's coming up to 8, and this is Priskon perhaps getting a first blood. Let's see if he hits. He does not find the he finds the frostbite, but the Q does not land, and that means that Don't Bandita finds himself flashing out to safety. Close situation topside.
Good poke
Yeah,
there.
he gets out by the skin of his teeth, and that one I actually thought he was about to go down, certainly, but he doesn't entirely, and it seems like, once again, it's Good Game Esports. Oh!
Flash in from Role Swapper. Another flash here from C-Boy. They're looking for the kill top lane.
Can
Can
he
they
get a
find it?
turnaround? Oh,
Last
hey!
hand hit, and that's the first blood down bottom. We see the
Oh,
stun
let's
onto
go.
the support. Griesen is in trouble. Ignite is on him. He goes down, and that's Drake's getting a kill down. Not a first blood,
but a kill.
But a kill nonetheless, and that is great news for the AD carry of this Supernova team.
It was close. I almost nailed it.
Yeah, but you quite didn't you? I did. We have the Kennen with the first blood here, so finally we get to go through with the predictions, and at least if not for the entire series, I get one thing right here. Oh, another setup here from the...
The light slinger.
And a small a bird tear was rolling down my chin, seeing as the Anivia did not get the first block in the top lane situation earlier. But maybe he will get to get a little revenge and get a kill later on. This C-Boy is definitely the guy we should keep our eyes on, because he can set up a lot of kills when he gets impale, and he's already level 5.
Yeah, but also one thing to mention, C-Boy can get in easily in every single lane. You got the CC in the bot lane with the stun through the Cillian bombs. You got the mid lane stun from the Anivia Q, and you got the wall as well to prevent escapes, unless they use Flash. And top lane, you got the cannon passive as well with the stun.
Yeah, and right now what we're seeing is the Supernova. They're behind 500 gold after what, well, probably surmounts to the first blood bonus here. And what they have to do is they have to apply the pressure in the early game. It's not the other way around, which Good Game Esports seems to be doing right now. They did apply some pressure in the bot lane. I'd like to see that some more now and try to punish Cillian before he hits his level 6 and thereby his ultimate rewind there, so he can revive whoever might be in danger of dying.
And just to do a bad impression of you from an earlier game, Baldorian, we have ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, an Infernal Drake on the map. This is great news if you want to see people scale up and get a lot of damage. And that means that we have something to fight over in the early game.
Exactly. You know, there's a prize hanging or dangling in front of their faces, a carrot in front of the ass's face.
Chilling Smite used up here in the top lane. Rupture might cancel the situation, does as well. And Vivifica going really low in the mid lane. This is the damage that
Look at Greason. Look at Greason now.
Push out, yeah.
I'm sort of excited to see what's going to happen, because I would say that Dragon would be in favor for Supernova at this point.
They have to get it, in my opinion. They have to get it.
Exactly.
They have to apply the pressure so they can get that Infernal Drake.
Exactly.
They have the scaling on Good Game Esports side. They have the tools to work around really easily, or rather easily, as we get into the late game. I'm not saying that they don't have some stuff on Supernova side, but definitely it's an early to mid game comp they're running here.
And if you're not sure what they're doing here in the mid lane, they're trying to get the flash off of Vivifica.
No flash for the ultimate.
Impale does hit. That's an ultimate from the Syndra, and a kill from this C-Boy. Skarner, it's a great pull-off. It's really hard to get out of that kind of situation, and Vivifica chooses to hold up Flash, not use anything else but heal, and dies for it.
Yeah, that's honestly a huge mistake. I would just play it safe there, try to maintain the control, or try to assert yourself in this early game. But now you just you give Good Game Esports an olive branch here, or a reward of some sort, and really unnecessary. That's what flashes are for. You kill secure or you get out of dodge, right? He doesn't do that in this case, and it costs his team's pressure on the map at the moment.
It does. It does, and it gives a good lead to Priscorn as well. Like he's up almost 30 CS.
Yeah, and honestly, Anivia is one of those few champions where you can play it in the mid lane and not really do anything else but farm and still be really effective in the mid to late game, which means that this champion, when it gets ahead, it gets really disgusting.
Oh yeah.
The amount of damage you can do to an 80 carry, for example, is like 100 to 0 from a Q and an E.
Yeah.
And that's before you get to late game. So if he gets further ahead, Priscorn on this Anivia, we could see really nice things from this GG lineup.
Definitely. And I'm sort of excited to see as well if we see Priscorn decides to roam, because as you say, you can easily be effective while playing Anivia on the mid lane because you create so much pressure. You keep shoving the minions onto the turret. So, but I'm sort of, I would like to see him roam on the Anivia as well, put up some nice walls and get some side lane pressure, just to do it, because I think he has the overviews to do so, and I think he has the damage for it as well, and I think the combo itself with the rest of the company from Good Game Esports is gonna be enough.
Yeah, and this is a champion we have to remember who is not prevalent in the early game normally, but as we see here, he's actually 25 CS above Vivifica on the Syndra, and that is not a shining light, as it were, or a beacon of hope for Supernova this time around. This Syndra is something they need to effectualize and just utilize right away. And
Indeed.
They haven't really been paying attention to the mid lane whatsoever. I haven't seen, or scarcely seen, Don't Ban Nita on the map trying to get some proactive ganks off to enable these lanes that, you know, it's quite necessary.
And as you say, it's not a particularly strong champion in the early game. Like, it's decent in the laning phase. It can match up against pretty much everything, but you can punish it.
Yeah.
If you go for the blue buffs, or if you make sure that the lanes doesn't really favor Anivia, that she cannot farm them in the early game, then she becomes a non-factor really fast. So you could go for the blue buffs in this situation, but they're like Priscon is getting them. He's getting everything at the moment.
Oh yes, he has their number, as it were, and really nice stuff from Priscon here to defy Don't Ban Nida, or deny him from going down in the bot lane to get off a gank, which Supernova has been sorely missing in this game. They're almost 2,000 gold ahead from the side of Good Game Esports, and this is off of a 2-1,
Infernal Dragon.
10.5 minutes in, and they are starting the Infernal Dragon.
They definitely are, and this is a lot of damage on the champion, on the Drake in the moment. They do have people around, but they are not close enough to contest this Drake. So it goes down, and Infernal Drake goes over to GG Esports, the first Drake on the board now. And what a Drake that was.
In this scenario here as well, it would make no sense for them to try to contest it from their current position, because if they went up, Anivia, which I'm going to expect, would have at least one level in the wall, which would be enough to block the entrance. So that would, if they really, really want to commit, they would have to flash it, which would make no sense whatsoever.
No, and they get off a bad recall.
Oh, maybe they get engaged here. Impale is used onto Lucian, and he is gone! The Drakes gets the kill down bot side. Chu gets the kill onto Drakes, and that means they can push this turret in now, getting a potential first turret gold. They need some minions though. And it does not look like... oh, there's some pressure in the mid lane as well from the other team.
Yeah, but look at Don't Ban Nida right now. He's not moving towards the mid lane to gain the pressure on... Okay, he's starting to move now, but it takes a long time for him to actually go to his laners, to actually apply some pressure with the lane.
Are they gonna make it?
Now they get to answer in return on this turret. I think, maybe not. Okay, they're going to have to use the...
Ooh,
Glacial Fissure
all
there.
those hits in that situation, and Priscon is looking to slow them because Kennen is coming down from the top saying,
that's gonna get bloody.
Yebaho flashes out off the Maelstrom pulse, gets stunned under his own turret.
Is that a kill?
Frostbite does not connect, and that means that Seaboy has to get resurrected by Griesen under his own turret. Under the opposing turret, rather, and then Priscon takes a lot of damage from the turret. They can't go any further, but close call from the GG lineup, looking for kills in the mid lane.
In the meantime, Telvi has all the time in the world to look at this top lane turret, and I think Good Game Esports may have bitten off more than they can chew. Telvi's not entirely going to get it, but he gets a lot of good chunks into this turret, and that might be the way back in for Supernova. They have to apply the pressure now. They have to look for something proactively, and they have to be faster when it comes to pace. They're simply not quick enough when it comes to pressuring these objectives.
No, but as you said as well, and I do agree, that Infernal Drake should have been Supernova's. But they had no chance to contest it in that point in the game. And the same goes with the bot lane as well. Diving Drakes, getting the kill, going for the first turret, letting the minions handle the last stuff, trying to contest it on the mid lane, but they just don't make it in time.
They definitely don't, and now we see two teams looking towards placing wards in the top side of the map. It seems like the outer turrets in the top side is what both teams are looking for right now. We do see the pinks come in from both of them. Right now, Supernova has more vision towards the bot side, but they are having their support and jungler path in the top side as well to ward off and deny some vision from Good Game Esports.
As a neutral caster, I'm always neutral and partial in every situation, but I just have to look at this Anivia farming up a storm, being 30 CS plus ahead, and having the time of her life. I think this is a great League of Legends in the moment.
League of Leggings.
Yeah, I can't
League
even
of
get the
Legends.
words out. I'm just in ecstasy over here.
Yeah, and it is very cool, like a cucumber or cool calm collected from the Anivia here. You know, bird
That's
is the
a
word. And
cucumber, bro.
I don't
Oh,
think
let's see if Priscon can find a kill. Vivifica still has a Scatter of the Week, does not fire it off, and that means that Priscon can't really close
one
the
versus
distance.
one.
And Chu gets a
the
lot of
damage.
damage in the back, gets to Kane shift out, and then we see the Rift Herald being popped in the mid lane. This means that Supernova has to answer.
I mean, I'm excited to see if they actually decide to rotate towards it, because you see Role Swapper waiting in the brush as well in case something happens. So it was warded, but he was there in case something happens to make sure that it can open up the map even further.
They're trying to find Telvi for some reason here. I thought they could pull out the kill on him as well as get the mid turret. They do get the mid turret, however, and this is Braum taking a lot of damage. Yebaho on this sturdy bot laner and likes to soak up the damage that his mid laner should have had. and then they get to defend their second turret, perhaps.
They certainly do after this.
Two ships passing each other in the night there. The junglers not really noticing each other in the jungle. Really great awareness, I think, or just the lack of incentive to go for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Why bother?
The respect, but as well, yeah. Why bother?
And well, it seems like they've landed themselves in quicksand here from Supernova, because time is running out for these guys in that composition here that they've been drafting. Currently, they are, from Good Game Esports side, they're almost 3,000, let's say 2,500 thereabouts, gold ahead, and they keep just applying the vision forward to get pressure on the next given turret. They try proactively to get people out of lane so they can knock down and chisel down these turrets afterwards. And they don't necessarily have to go all in for the kills. They just want to poke you out, chunk you down, get some nice engages, and even if they don't get the kill, they get the time pressure to knock these things down.
And I honestly think that we are once again, for the third time, getting to a point where this GG lineup has to throw the rope to Supernova Esports. They need to actually be out of position so that this pick comp, which is it's turning into from Supernova, gets the chance to get a kill, because they've only gotten one so far. It's a nice kill to Drix, but it's a long time ago, and these turret scores is only even at the moment. It's not great.
No.
And for the first time around, we actually do see Supernova group together towards the turret in the top lane, and thereby getting this turret down, getting some gold. And that is some of those are some of the aspects of the actual macro play. Getting these rotations and realizing when you have the tempo on the map for a given play, placing the wards, then rotating, and then trying to get some out of it. And they do get that out of it here, and that's what they've been lacking. It might just be too late for Supernova at this point.
It could, potentially be too late, because they're trying to prioritize the dragon here. It's going to be a Cloud Drake, but they don't have Telvik there. I know the lane is being pushed up, but that would be amazing if we could get some more stacks onto that feast, becoming this very big dinosaur.
But look at where he is right now. It
Exactly.
doesn't seem like the Cho'Gath is getting to feast off of anything, and we've talked about Cake in this series quite a lot.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't get it here. On the other hand, Good Game Esports, they get a good piece of it right there in terms of a top side tier 1 turret. And that, just throws them back further on into the lead with this 2,500 gold lead.
And as in the famous song, I don't think that anybody wants to walk this dinosaur, this guy down here. He is really huge in the moment. And even though Roll Swap is kind of doing his thing, trying to damage Telvi, look at this backlash he's getting from Telvi. The pure sustained damage that Telvi can put out, and then heal up again with the minion wave is just too much to handle for Kennen at the moment.
Yeah, and it might be worth noting that this Kennen has actually gone for the AP build in this game, so not what we expect, not the AD Kennen, and that also surmounts to it.
Oh, flash from Seaboy gets the impale, and that is Vivifica deleted by Press Corner. Lots of damage, and very surprised mid laner going down from Supernova. Not a chance.
And see here, once again, Good Game Esports, they apply the pressure forward. They go for one pick, even though if it fails, they probably have to flash out or something from Supernova's side. And then they somewhat give over this turret unwillingly and for free at some point. And that it's just an issue for them. They don't try to land these scatter the weaks, or they're not trying hard enough. They're not looking for proactive brawn plays, which I think is one of the only tools they have at this moment. And yeah, they are falling apart in this series.
Yeah, I mean, indeed. And one thing that I'm just to mention or follow up on what you're saying is that I don't believe that GGE would say, "Oh my God, we're gonna lose," or "We're too far behind. We don't want to take any chances." I definitely think that they would take a lot of chances, like high risk, high reward. And I think they would be able to accomplish something on it.
Scatter the Weak hits the AD carry, and he is feasted down. Nom nom nom. But a clutch save from Cillian keeps him alive, and now it's Telvi that's in trouble. Telvi going down here to Grisen of all people. The man who saved his AD carry gets the kill, gets the reward, and now they get to go for the turret in the bot lane.
Do you call that karma?
No, that's the champion.
No,
Okay.
that's the other champion there.
Okay.
But they throw everything into the kitchen sink here from
they
Supernova to try to get off one pick, but they didn't do what we exactly touched upon in the champion select.
No.
They didn't get to change targets, and in just the right moment, Grisen, with his cool calm collected oversight, just places his ulti rewind on Ezreal, and you might get a nom stack. I don't know if Telvi got it, but still, you don't get the kills, and they turn it around.
Yeah, exactly. And if you had the lead, let's say that this was a game that Supernova got out ahead of in the early game, then they would have the chance to go after some of the other people after that kill onto Achu, or at least that pop of the ultimate from Cillian. But they don't really have the resources, they don't have the damage, and they don't have the means to keep this fight going after the first engage, and that means they just lose members and they lose objectives. Seaboy looking for another kill here. Impale goes in, and Yamaho goes out. Telvi in trouble down the bot side. He is going down to half health at the moment. A nice little wall stops him from advancing onto the top laner of Roll Swapper, and that means that 2 people are currently down. Stun onto Achu, and then he gets deleted. No Grisen around to save him this time around. And that's a little answer back from Supernova. Great stuff.
They even got the flash on Achu.
Yeah, they get the flash out as a consolation prize here. It's not really enough for them to make a turnaround in this game unless they place it right now. Doesn't seem like it. Good Game Esports, they're just playing it slowly here, and Yamaho is coming in as well.
And look at this. This is what Anivia does best. Fighting in zoned areas. She can put up the walls, she can put out her zoning ultimate Glacial Storm, and then she can just go to work. They will get this inhibitor in time.
Oh, they will.
Oh, and look at Telvi. He's actually teleported in
Oh,
behind
nice
there.
pillar,
Supernova
though.
looking for him.
Oh, Telvi coming in.
Corner has to flash out because of a
Telvi.
nice pillar, and then the stun afterwards. The Scatter of the Week gets the egg. This means that the egg is gonna be an omelet, and Priskon is shut down. Drakes gets the kill, and they get to answer back from Supernova.
That was well played as well, and especially with the Telvik coming in flanking throughout the lane.
They should go for the Baron now. I think they should go for the Baron. Just throw everything at it now. Just go down there, see if they can get off a pick if they force the Baron. If they don't, well, they have to get some sort of pick off again. And this time they got as close as to almost executing the inhibitor here from Good Game Esports. So they don't have a lot of time to run on. And you have to realize they use the teleport to get off a flank to try to surprise them. They get off their first scatter of the week on a target they actually want. And it's only 1 kill.
Yeah.
It's only 1 kill. It's a shutdown, yeah, sure, but it's not really anything in the grand scheme of things.
No, and the same goes for Telvik as well. He's trying to to create some sort of pressure in the side lane without teleport as well. So he needs to group up. He can't, or they can't afford to have him in a side lane because he needs to be there. They have TP advantage on Roll Swapper on Kennen.
And for as much as we have blamed this Vivifika mid laner for stepping into a bad situation and getting caught out, he has also been hitting these crucial Scatter the Weeks and really setting his team up for these kills they've gotten.
Now look at this. This is actually a trap from Supernova.
Does not hit this time around though. Seaboy getting caught out maybe. They stunned up Yamaho. He needs to jump out. Impale is used onto Don't Bandita. He is a tanky man though, and this is Grisen in the front line now against Drakes. Drakes is speeded up a little, but that's not enough, and the fight ends in nothing.
Yeah, but it's a nice different shade of gray to see from Supernova here.
They are surrounded though. A Tube trying to get out from the fight the way of Drakes, and that means a kill for Drakes. He gets killing spree almost, and this is just Grisen trying to extend the time period of which this fight is going to take.
Yeah, but look at the other lanes here. We have the Bird and we have the Kennen. They're pressuring the inhibitors right now, so everybody from Supernova has to recall. Don't Bandita decides not to, and Seaboy might be stuck in an ill-advised situation, but in the meantime, they do answer with some inhibitors.
Look at this, he's keeping 3 people away at the moment. 3 people is not going to stop these 2 people in the mid lane. They get the inhibitor, they get 2 inhibitors. They might lose a lot of people, but can they turn the fight here? They have 3 against 4, maybe 5 in a second. Yamaho is the first one. Double stun here from Scatter of the Week. Lots of damage from the drive-by Drakes on this Lucian, and then the mid laner goes down. No egg this time around, and then Seaboy is the next one to follow. Major engage! Triple kill here from Roll Swapper. He goes down, but not before he kills the almost the entire team of this Supernova lineup, and then Achu can just finish up this ace. Double kill for him as well. No inhibitors standing in his way at the moment. Just the Nexus turret. Can he do it? He has Grisen on his way, front base. I want to help.
And just as it looks like they're going to take a fight that could result in a postponed Baron for the Supernova lineup. They get it turned around. X-Roll Swapper comes in with a massive Keenan ulti, and now they're pressuring on after the ace into the base of Supernova.
Recalls are happening in the moment. TP is challenged from this Anivia. Can they get the Nexus? It's the only thing that's stopping them from the 3-0 at the moment.
They're looking for kills.
People, they get a kill, but they get pushed back there as well. Rosewater gets back with his TP, and now Drax needs to go down. He gets a double kill, and then he dies. So Telvi is the only member left, and the Nexus is on nothing. This looks like the game for GG, but Telvi is doing a major, like...
They're padding the KDA. Yeah. They're padding the KDA here in the end of the game. We see Don't Ben need a disconnect from the game here in the end, and... Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was our first semifinal of the day. We get a 3-0 massively in favor of Good Game Esports. Obviously, they've looked really, really tough. And whoever of Singularity or Roll Again who might face them in the final, they're looking to have a mighty task ahead of them.
Yeah. They were very dominant.
Really?
Like, Good Game Esports was on the edge all the time. Just having the knife... just like at the throat and just waiting for it. They had him all along. But the first game out-rotated. Second game sort of the same, and here they're just forcing every single fight and punishing Supernova on every single mistake they make. The same goes for the Dragon. They lose the first Infernal Dragon.
I just want to touch real quick on the fact that we see a GG Esports team play up against the Supernova team that has a really great pick and ban phase. I think they do really smart things from the other side. And even though they do that, GG Esports just shows that they have more than 4 different champions in each role that they play really greatly. Yeah. And that each of those things are a threat. And they can build different compositions. So going towards the finals, the other teams that are going to play them are going to have to look at this GG lineup and think, how do we do this pick and ban phase?
Exactly, they look very flexible, and you know, if there's anything we can prioritize in our everyday life as well as in gaming, it is flexibility. We do like to see that, and in a moment here, we are going to have Greason coming on for an interview, and I do think one of us will have to step out of here for the actual interview, so we can do the rock, paper, scissors, or...
I'm just going to forfeit this one and take another one.
That's
fair.
That's fair enough. We're going to wait for Greason here. Thank you, Storm, for this first semi-final. And then me and Justy will simply await Greason here.
So, but what do you think about the 3 matches we've seen so far?
Well, Supernova still has a 3rd, 4th place decider tomorrow that they're going to have to play, but I do believe they have to change up their strategy, specifically in the jungle and as well in the mid lane. I'd say the bot lane looks pretty solid for them.
I think so as well.
But in general, there's too many insecure moves. I'm kind of sad that they didn't go more for the Urgot. I do think that worked really well for them in the first game, in spite of the result, of course, but still looked really good.
I was a fan as well. I was a fan of the Urgot pick because they were actually able to get something out of it. And I don't have the feeling that in, let's say, the 3rd game here, for example, the Cho'Gath, he did have like Telvik was doing good, but he would have more impact.
Yes, and I'm going to have to stop you there because the man of the hour has stepped in. Here's your headset, sir. And let's get into it here. Welcome on the broadcast, Greason. Very well played from you and your team, 3-0.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you.
Yeah. So looking at these matches, it seemed like you weren't really contested in any of the games. A little bit maybe in some of them, but you look really strong. You look really flexible with the champions you've played. Could you comment a little bit on the meta right now, the way you see it as a team?
I think the patch right now opens up a lot of variety. Like there's a lot more options, and I think the first game visualized that the meta is really complex. Like there's a lot of options where you can go to make the game more complicated, even though it's cheesy. Like just having the 6 bot and just having a roaming support. For me, I define the meta that you will have an AD carry that is self-sustainable, that can just be bot. You have a support that is able to roam and duel people, and then you have the jungler where you can play carry junglers.
Yeah.
And then you have a kind of supportish mid laner that can just, like even the Taric mid lane, everyone have seen that. It's super obnoxious.
The Taragi?
Yeah, and I think Anivia is really good now as well because she's just wave clearing and it opens up for the carry jungle a lot.
Priest corner
With
looked
these,
really comfortable
Mid
on his
laners with
Nivea.
mid prio as well, and the top lane is just like tanky CC, so you have some kind of engage as well.
You did still throw the cannon in there, and you ran it with the AP. Was it just sort of a cheeseball, oddball pick that you wanted to throw in there to see if you can win with, or is there any...
Honestly, we didn't have a single game on cannon. We just felt like it.
Well, that is convincing, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't have one game on the cannon here. Well, that's pretty good. You yourself played 3 different champions over the course of these 3 games. One of them in particular I would like to hear your thoughts about, and that is Pyke, the new champion here. What do you feel like? You certainly seem to get the hooks off the line there.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure him out, and I think the best way to play Pyke is like with the runes, you cannot get health. So I think Electrocute is better because you need to play aggressive on this champion. A lot of people are going Aftershock, but I would recommend going Electrocute, and then you go for the cheap shot, Relentless Hunter, and then you have Scorch and Celerity in
So very offensive.
So yeah, and then you can even just start E level 1, try to hit the stun and proc the cheap shot and Electrocute, and then you just back off and sustain with your passive, and you can really win a lot of trades level 1 against squishy targets if they have no mobility or dashes or anything. If you play against... he's really bad against stuff like Braum, Alistar, Tim Kench, because you can't go in like this. But he's so mobile, so you can just... If you have a bad matchup, you just roam. And what you can do, which I think is really cool with him, is you have to just detect where they ward, and then you just use your stealth over the ward. And then you can like dash over walls, so you can really surprise them. It's kind of like Evelyn jungle, but in the support role. So there's just not a champion like Pyke in the support role. And I think he's really cool to play, and I think he benefits my playstyle a lot.
Yeah, certainly. You actually got to get the first blood for Seaboy level 2 already with the Pyke. Because of an offensive, I wouldn't call it entirely a roam, but you were in the opponent's jungle, and it paid off already there, and you got to snowball that game in an excruciating manner if you are Supernova. So you really punished them for leaving that open. Do you think any of the other teams might look to play Pyke during the course of these semifinals and the final as well?
I think it's a very snowbally pick, and I think if it was SKT versus SKT, I don't think it's that good of a pick, because he's really good in the first 15 minutes because he has so much roaming potential. Like, he's unmatched in that regards, but in late game, he doesn't offer the team a lot. So he's kind of like a better version of Blitzcrank early game, I guess, but worse late game.
All right.
Maybe it's a bad comparison to make with Blitzcrank when we're talking competitively, but
I
don't know what to compare him with. But I don't think he's good in competitive. But I mean, it's hard to tell when I haven't seen anyone else play.
Exactly. We're hopefully going to see a lot of that coming into the LCS soon, and then we'll see if Pyke actually becomes one of the more formidable support picks in the future. As for the next semifinal, it's Singularity versus Rolligan. Do you have any preference as to who you want to meet in the final, and what do you think the scoreline is going to be for that semifinal?
I think it's going to be really close, actually. I'm not 100% sure what the lineups are, actually.
Menja is back as AD carry, Raxon is the mid, Monkey's jungle. They have Lineups back in the top lane as well, and Gilligantha as the support.
All right. So
Rolligan is their standard lineup with Croxy in the AD carry again, and then Kido and Tran.
I will give it a 3-1 to Singularity, though.
3-1 to Singularity?
I know they're not playing that much together, but I think they're just better individually, and I think, as far as I know, I don't have that much intel, but I don't think Rolligan's players put as much time into the game.
Fair
and
enough.
I think that can benefit Singularity a lot, also in a best-of series when it comes to 5 game, because they should be more resilient if they are used to play the game more.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. So what Greason thought of the games here, I want to thank you for the interview, and good luck in the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, and good luck to you guys as well.
For you guys, we're going to see you again at 7 o'clock, where the next best of 5 will be going off the grid, and that will be, of course, as we mentioned, Singularity versus Rolligan. And let's see if Greason gets it right. We'll see you at 7 o'clock. Stay tuned for another great semifinal, hopefully.
Yeah, see ya.